All right, welcome everybody to the City Council meeting for November the 4th, 2025. Can I have I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. Call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Here.
Councilmember Pratton.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. Can we have a report from closed session, Mr. Spondario?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There is no reportable action tonight.
All right, if everyone can please join us for a silent prayer followed by a flag salute. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we have our replay statement, please, Tina?
This meeting of the Galt City Council is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.zaccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Friday, November 7th at 9 a.m. and Saturday, November 8th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to item F, agenda approval, additions and deletions. Do we have any this evening? No? Okay. Moving on to presentations. A presentation this evening is going to be from Unwired, Jeremy Stern, a regulatory advisor, and John Majors, the vice president of operations.
Good evening, Mayor. Before Jeremy starts, I'd like to just do a little background on it. We've been working with Unwired for the past handful of months, and what I think I've spoken to most of you, and what they're proposing to do is basically provide fiber optic service to the city of Galt. That will entail them installing fiber network throughout the city. There's no cost to the city on this. Basically, they would go through this through a normal encroachment permit process. We're not asking for approval from council tonight, but we wanted to make you and the public aware of this activity because we do believe it's a good thing that is coming to the city to provide faster and better internet accessibility to the citizens of Galt. And with the work that they're going to do, they're going to be working when it does get started in the right-of-way and in easements throughout the existing city limits, and it will be a disruption at times. So it was important for us to make sure that you and the public are aware of the activity that they will be undertaking. And so then Jeremy will give you a presentation on their proposal.
Thank you, Chris. You just took about 2 minutes off my presentation, so thank you for that. My name is Jeremy Stern, and I'm a regulatory advisor for Unwired Broadband. Thank you, Mayor and honorable members of the council and city staff. I'm delighted to be here to share with you our plans to build a fiber optic network throughout the city and tell you a little bit about Unwired Broadband and what we intend to bring to the city. I'm very excited about it and really appreciate the opportunity to work with your incredibly insightful city staff. They've been very gracious with their time, and we look forward to building that partnership with them in the months and years ahead.
This is the one job I have.
Thank you. All right. So I joined the company just a few months ago, and I've found the company to be filled with incredibly hardworking and creative people that are focused on the company's mission of building out advanced broadband services to the underserved and unserved communities in Central Valley. Our goal, is to build that advanced broadband, things that lots of highly urbanized areas already have, and bring the features and benefits of that great network, which I'll share with you tonight, to the folks in Galt. Company was founded about 22 years ago as a fixed wireless provider, and we serve about 30,000 customers from the Grapevine all the way up to Yuba and Sutter County. But these days, we're transforming into a hybrid broadband provider, which means in addition to fixed wireless, we're providing advanced FTTH service to several communities. And I'll share a little bit more about what FTTH is, fiber to the home, in a moment. But right now we have services available throughout Gustine and Coalinga, and we're building out in Parlier and Gustine, and we'd like to add Galt to the family of communities that we serve proudly in the Central Valley. So what is FTTH? It's literally fiber to the home. We run fiber optic strands from our central office, which we hope to locate somewhere around here, and build those out to every resident and business in the city. The fiber runs straight into their modem or router and brings extraordinary, blazing fast internet services. Broadband has essentially become the essential new utility for the information age. It's foundational infrastructure to help provide for economic growth and quality of life improvements for all of the city. And it's important to understand that this network is future-proof for your community. This fiber optic network will last for decades. So we're building something now that, as Chris mentioned, may be disruptive for a little bit as we build out, but your residents and businesses will get to enjoy the benefits of that for decades. And those little teeny fiber optic cables can deliver speeds of up to 5 gigabits in both directions. And we firmly believe that with these speeds, with this kind of internet capacity in your community, this is how your residents and businesses will live, work, and play in the information age. I want to emphasize that we're not just a technology company. We're proud of building partnerships with the communities that we serve. We work in a very collaborative spirit. And while this is a massive infrastructure project throughout the city, we're experienced in managing them and working very closely with the city. We know that our secret sauce is working with your professional staff to make this a success. Let me just share with you, our prices are extraordinarily competitive, and one of the things that you find with existing broadband providers here and around the country is their speeds are not symmetrical, as I talked about. You can get a gigabit or 2 gigabits from some providers, but it's downstream. It's not upstream. And in these days when you're working with so many applications that are cloud-based, where you want to get your massive amount of Google, photos that you took at the family picnic over the weekend up to your Google Cloud storage, Google Photos. This is upstream capacity that really makes this such an interactive and effective network. We don't require contracts. There are no speed limits on our superhighway, so to speak. There are no data caps, and we guarantee our speeds 24/7. Other providers do not do that because they're capacity constrained. Our fiber optic networks, as I told you, are future-proof, and so we don't have to do that. I'm going to skip to the construction portion of the presentation, just real quick to give you an overview. It's a good-sized community you have here with over 8,600 residential and commercial units in the community. We don't build out the entire community at once. We're not constructing 100% of the city. We divide it into what we call distribution areas. And each of those distribution areas, there'll be about 16 of them in your town, and about 600, a little less than 600 homes per DA. And we'll start out with one DA once we get through the permit process with your staff, and build that out, build the trust and awareness in the community. And from there, we'll start to expand into a second DA, a third DA, then we'll start building multiple DAs, a couple DAs at the same time. And we can get up to maybe 4 DAs at the same time. And that's why we think we can build this out in about 13 months. That's what we're looking to do. And the process is very involved, but we've been very experienced at it. We've divided it into each DA into sort of 7 phases. I won't go into the weeds about it, but right now we're in the first phase with our construction design and talking to the city. The next phase will involve permitting, and then we get out into the field and start constructing the system. And once we finalize building and restoring the rights of way as we found them, we turn each of those DAs live and start serving customers. So we do want to gain your trust. I think that's what Unwired has built over the last 22 years, is that trusting relationship with the communities they serve. And we look forward to building that this network in your community and becoming part of the fabric of your town. The next step is we'll be working with staff on this. We've done sort of a high-level design, and that's using sophisticated mapping and engineering technology, but we need to get out into the field and see how those maps line up with reality, where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. So we'll have our technical teams, construction teams, going out and walking through your community literally, following the design areas and noting any discrepancies. So that walkout will be next once we move forward with that plan, and then we'll get to our finalized designs and permitting and hope to be constructing right after the first of the year. That's it. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer them. Chris and John and the team know how to find me if they come up after the fact. Thank you so much for your time. It's an honor and privilege to be here, and on behalf of Unwired, we look forward to moving forward with you.
Thank you, Mr. Stern. It's Mr. Stern, right?
Yes, Jeremy.
Do we take public comment on presentations? I forget. Yeah. We do? Do we have any?
No.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. My questions would be, tell us more about the construction. Tell us more about the impacts on the community. I mean, are we talking about, because I was in telecom for 20 years, so I have a little bit of knowledge of this. So are you talking about pulling your fiber through existing conduit that AT&T or whoever else owns? Or are you talking about going and digging up, every 300 yards and then going out with your equipment and pulling cable through the ground? I mean, what are we talking about?
Ideally, if there's existing conduit that we can work through, we will. But ultimately, building for the long term, if there isn't existing facilities that we can use, we will go in, and we don't trench through the entire street. We do direct boring underneath, right, so we don't have to tear up every inch of the street. And then we come back in and restore those those areas to the level and condition we found them in. We also will explore with the city staff here the possibility of doing micro trenching, which instead of boring under the ground, you actually cut a 2 or 3 inch strip into the pavement, backfill it immediately, and seal it so that it retains its structural strength. So yes, it is a massive project, as Chris mentioned. There will be disruptions, but I think one of the things that we've found is that we are less disruptive than your average other utility around here by a significant long shot. We try to manage those, working closely with your city staff and addressing concerns, not just on the community-wide basis, but on a household by household basis as we move through the communities. We start with a very detailed construction outline, if you will, to the residents. We'll provide information to the community, to you, as well as do door hangers as we are getting ready to move through the communities and as we're moving into the communities. So everybody will be aware of this is happening. And because we're concentrating our efforts on a DA basis, it'll only be those 600 homes that'll be impacted during that construction phase, and then we move on to the next DA. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, we have a lot of, I'm looking at your map and I'm just envisioning having to bring that to every home. One thing that would concern me would be that how many, we can't just assume that every resident in Galt is going to use your service.
No, it'd be
So,
nice if they
so
would.
you're going to have a certain percentage, whether it's, we don't know what that percentage is, of people that are going to be impacted by the construction process who are not going to be benefiting from that. It's one thing to go out and have our crews out digging up a pipe for like the sewer or the water or something, or electricity, which everybody has to have. Whereas this is a, so this is just one concern I have. I
understand.
just trying to weigh the negatives and the positives. Obviously, I think the only person, you kind of have a monopoly in the business right now with with AT&T and Comcast with fiber. So it's like, it'd be nice to have another option.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have some more questions, but I'm going to let my other council members talk.
Mayor, and maybe it's a good time to also add that there are some benefits to the city for the activity. We will be leasing some space for their ground equipment, and in return, we'll get access to the fiber network at no cost to the city. All the activity that they are engaging in, any staff time associated with it, we will be reimbursed. We're also working with them on getting us help to do inspections, for their work too. So there are some benefits to the city to obtaining this service.
Yeah, and I am aware of that, Chris, and I appreciate it. But no disrespect I just think the general public is not going to be like, oh, we're fine to be inconvenienced because the city's going to get a great deal on the internet. It's kind of like the people from Cornell Road here. They're being massively inconvenienced by a project that benefits them zero. The city's going to benefit tax dollars and stuff, but they're not. So I just look at it and hold on, I'm not done. So over at like Joy Drive, where they trenched up all the streets and did all that stuff, and we had people's water shut off and all that, and those people were massively inconvenienced because of that project going on over there. And I heard all about that, believe me. And so those are the things I think about.
No, for certain, and that's the whole reason why we're bringing it here is just so everybody's aware. This activity, and maybe Jeremy could share, on the amount of time spent in a community. So I think one of the advantages, it moves quickly. One of the disadvantages, it moves quickly. And so my concern is always I know there are going to be issues that come up. So it's a matter of how quickly does Unwired respond to the problems that do come up. Because anytime you're engaging in that activity, there are a lot of unknowns, and then things do happen. So you're right, there is going to be a disruption. There's the potential for problems. And for me, it's always a matter of how do we respond to that.
So one more question, and I'm sorry, and I promise I'll let my other councilors talk. So that's a great question, Chris, because I would like to know, before we finish this discussion, who would be the person overseeing your operations from the city side? Because a few months ago we had Comcast digging some holes up over on Ranch Road, and people were blocked in their driveways because they dug holes up in front of people's driveways, and one of them was my daughter's house, and she couldn't even get to work that morning. So we were very unhappy about that. Public Works had to go out there and do some intervening, but I just this is always a thought. It's who's going to oversee you guys?
Well,
on behalf of the citizens.
It's that partnership that we build, and absent that kind of communication, we can see problems, but that's what we try to avoid at the ground level. We are locally based. down the road in Fresno. Our headquarters are in Fresno. And so the person who will be leading the construction is John Majors, and our Vice President of Operations. He couldn't be here tonight, but he's, I don't know how he can be in in so many places at once. He's very responsive, and so is the company. So I hear your concerns, and that's our number one goal, is to build this in close partnership with the city staff to avoid those. And we don't have to dig up in front of people's driveways like that. We don't shut them down like that. So,
Council, does anybody have any questions?
Well, that was kind of my question, is what does the inconvenience look like to an individual homeowner? Are they going to be locked in their driveway? Are they not going to be able to get into that?
no, we don't block driveways. We design around that, and we try to minimize that disruption as we go through a neighborhood. And we do have to sink certain equipment, not in most of it's underground, and then we have to go back and restore it. So as we're moving through a DA, it may be a few days till we get back to restoring that, and we try to be as quick as we can at that. But I want to mention there's a lot of homes in your town, and we have to address them individually as well.
So, and you're just going to, at this point, you're just laying basically the road work for it, and then the individual homes would have to say, okay, I would like your service, and then you would take it up to their home. So you're not spending all the time making all the connections, you're just laying the groundwork, and then they come in and ask for the service.
That's exactly right,
Okay.
Councilwoman Rodriguez. And whether they take the service initially or not, the network is there for the community. And you're right, Mayor Farmer. We'd love to have the entire community, but competition is what it is, and we won't get everybody. But the presence of our network, as has been the case in other communities around the country, the presence of a fiber to the home network increases the attractiveness for new residents moving in and new businesses as it creates opportunities with that infrastructure. So it's, as I said, it's essential infrastructure for the modern age.
Is there a connection fee? I don't see that on your.
We do not charge for installation. That's
Okay.
another good
So to
question.
take it up from your road to their house, you don't charge?
There's no installation charge, just the monthly rates that I shared with you.
Okay.
So if a business wants your service and there's no existing conduit or a previous provider, and you guys have to trench or put your interduct in and your fiber, whatever, you're not going to charge for that construction cost to the customer?
There's no installation charge for residential or businesses.
My question is, you're going to be having no contract, right? You said there will be no contract. If the business wants this fiber on their business, and you're going to spend all this money and you're going to have no contract, that's what you say. They can have a contract.
I believe that it's month to month, even for businesses.
You sure?
Yeah, I will confirm that
Thank you.
for you. Absolutely.
And that price that is going to be it's going to be monthly, it's going to changing, or it's going to be like in 3 years, that's going to be the same price, or?
We don't have any. Can I go back? There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to say.
It's hard to guarantee. We can't guarantee our prices, but these are illustrious prices that we have currently today in those neighboring communities.
Let's just say the price is not future-proof.
The
I can
technology
I can guarantee you that.
There is a 3-year price guarantee for the.
I will follow up with you, Councilman.
It says that, yeah.
Vice Mayor, excuse me.
3-year price lock, it says on the 3 upper tiers.
Yeah.
One quick question. So you're not going to block my driveway, and it's going to go underground, right? So I may not see anything, but once you connect to my house, you're going to have to break into the street to get there, or how do you tap in?
We're not using aerial. I don't know if there's any aerial utilities in I know SMUD's here, but I don't know if you have poles in the area. We're not using
No, it's
aerial
I
attachments.
understand.
We will dig into the yard to get our from our box in the street to your house and and then repair it. And that fiber will run directly to the modem inside your house, and
Right,
we'll
but
install it inside your house.
From the box in my yard, you have to get to the wire in the street.
Yes.
How do you connect without cutting a hole in the street and going down?
I wish John were here, but
Because if you
build to
do, we're going to
boxes.
have little potholes all along.
We
wherever
build
you're
to
connecting.
little boxes in the neighborhood, and they serve several homes, and that's where we run the cables to the houses, and there's boxes on each side of the street.
So ideally, Matt, they'll have it, like Comcast has their services in the yard already, like there's a Christie box that has the other utilities. Sometimes they can bore, but you're right, out in the street,
already
there's
running.
probably gonna be a penetration in the street to get, even if they weren't able to, even if they didn't have to trench up your yard. It's gonna be something.
You got to
But
connect to it somehow. I'd like to see the answer to that.
Yeah, we will, in our next discussion with the city, we can provide you more. Like I said, I wish John could have been here, but we were intending to be more high level, and you guys are very good to dive into the weeds. We will get you pictures of what our equipment looks like and how we design and build into the neighborhood from those boxes.
yeah, I'm less worried about the citizen's yard, because if a citizen wants their service, they're gonna make certain concessions and understanding that they're gonna be either boring up or trenching or whatever. I'm more concerned about the work that's done in the street. Are we gonna have these little potholes that are gonna be backfilled all over the community that are gonna be like sinking, and, people are gonna be complaining, and Public Works is gonna have to go out and put some cold patch in it or something. That kind of stuff is what I'm more worried about for the people that aren't getting the service. So that it would be helpful to get a little more understanding of the construction impact. Because I think it's gonna be great having more choice, having all those things, but I worry about the construction impact to the streets and to the communities for people who are not gonna, yeah. Tim, I don't want to leave you out.
For the other communities that you guys are already in, for Gustine and all those other ones, do you have a problem with your speeds? Like I know you said it's guaranteed, right? And it's guaranteed on there, but have you guys had a problem fulfilling the speeds in which? Because to be honest, I have a internet provider that I'm supposed to be getting a certain level, and it never even comes close. And when I ask them that, they tell me, "Oh, you should just pay for a lower package then," instead of them figuring out what the problem is.
Let me try to explain why that won't happen with fiber to the home. The other providers have a shared network. So it's not a single fiber running into your home. I don't know whether you have cable or whether you have a telephone provider providing your service. But that network is shared. And so when your neighbors are using a lot of bandwidth, it sucks up a lot of bandwidth, and they don't guarantee, if you buy a gigabit or 2 gigabits, they don't guarantee that gigabit service to your household at all times because they can't provide it technically. With fiber to the home, it's a gigabit from our central office to your modem, 100% of the time.
Because you guys are the only ones
We're
that are
the
on
only
that.
ones providing that, and you're the only person that's getting that gigabit from us. So it's not a shared network, and that's one of the significant competitive advantages that we offer to your residents is the guaranteed speeds, 24/7. So you won't have that problem, Councilman.
So, Chris or staff, what are you looking from us tonight? Are you looking for some sort of direction or thoughts or what?
Really, it was really just the information coming through. As a utility provider, they have the right to work in the right-of-way. The entitlement from us is really just, it's not even an entitlement. It's
Well, that was my next question, is
Yeah.
I thought, a lot of times they don't really have to get the
Yeah,
blessing.
it's an encroachment permit process. So the goal of this item was to make you aware, allow you to ask some questions, and to have the public aware of what will be coming.
Well, what I would like to see, it's just me, and there's 5 of us up here, but I think I would like maybe another presentation at a future time whenever is
come back.
convenient
We'd love to-
with your construction
Yeah.
person so that he can answer some more intricate questions for us regarding the impact on the streets and stuff.
We absolutely will make that happen. And we're glad you asked because we want you to be informed and aware of what our process looks like so there's no surprises. And I think you'll find when you talk to John and other professionals, executives that work with the company, they intend to serve this community at the highest levels.
And I would ask that we include a little more detail on the process and what it's going to look like, right? What it's going to do to the streets and everything like that. Because if you didn't know, we have a lot of home builders in this city
I'm
building a
hearing
lot of
that.
stuff,
Yeah.
taking up a lot of street and causing a lot of issues for the city staff and the council members that have to deal with. And for us to have a better understanding of what that's going to look like up front so that we can try to get ahead of it and have a better understanding instead of us always trying to chase our tail when we have issues that come up, that would probably benefit us.
Also love to have some references. I'd love to, if there's someone from the city of Kalinga or, what was the other city?
Gustine?
Gustine, yeah. Yeah, those are way out in the middle of nowhere. If you know, someone from that, maybe someone from their city could talk to our staff and give us some feedback and on the experience so far. I mean, we could probably do it on our own, I guess. We could call them, but so, we have any more questions for Jeremy, or are we ready to move on? Well, thank you, sir, for the presentation. It's very informative, very interesting. So we'll, sounds exciting, but I think we still have more questions. So if you want to just get with staff and we can set up a future
Coordinate.
date soon for another.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're excited to have this first discussion. We look forward to continuing this conversation and working with you in the years ahead. Thank
All
you
right.
so much,
Thank you,
Mayor
sir.
and Council.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to move on to item H, which is our public comment. Tina?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the city council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for the city council to receive comments, except for brief responses to questions. No discussion or action may be taken on any item that is not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Consistent with the city council procedural guidelines, the mayor reserves the right to shorten the time limit for speakers to ensure the efficient and timely completion of all city business on the agenda. Ken Lee.
Good evening, council members. I'd like to bring up the last Saturday market on 4th. I enjoyed the kids' booth. You know, they had baked goods and crafts. And could it be a monthly thing for the next year and setup? Because it puts the good kids in a good light. And it gives them a step up in life and to go into business venture. And that's how Just Desserts got started. And look how big they are. And is there an update on the grocery outlet coming to the old Rite Aid? Or did they back out? And there is too many advertising signs placed on the roadways and the posts. It sometimes becomes a distraction when I'm driving because I'm staring at the sign and I hit the curbs. And could the economic development work with more fast foods to get on the EBT on hot foods? As a senior, I save on the sales tax. I don't have to pay sales tax, so that's a 10% savings right there. I don't waste raw foods at home because, you know, you buy it and you don't cook it all and you end up wasting it. It also saves me on my electrical bill when I don't have to cook, as well as the water usage. And I support our local businesses by going out and eating. Many of the businesses are unaware that EBT can be taken with hot food purchasing, so they need to be educated in the program that's available. Carl's Jr. is one of the first in this town to accept the program, where Lodi has many participants participating, taking EBT cards. And I support those businesses offering senior discounts and the EBT, thus eating out more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Rich Lozano.
Good evening. Mr. Lee is always a hard act to follow. So, my name is Rich Lozano. I'm the president of the Galt Rotary Club here in town, and I'm here to invite you all to our 15th annual community dinner that's going to happen on December 13th from 1 to 4. We'd love to have the council members and city staff help us serve the community. This is a free family event, so invite friends, neighbors, and everyone. We are prepared to serve up to probably 1,200 people if they come. And last year was just under 1,000. So we invite everybody. Wanted to make sure that you got it on your calendars before it was too long. I understand you may not have another meeting in November, and so I wanted to come 6 weeks rather than 2 weeks ahead of time. So, also, if you're interested, we have a QR code, and I'll pass these down. Just take a picture of it. It's for anyone that would like to volunteer. On Friday night, we will be prepping the turkeys as well as dressing up the Littleton Center. And so that's an opportunity if you'd like to come out and help out for an hour or two. The Friday night we'll be there from 6 to hopefully 9. And then Saturday, the cooking crew will be there at 5 in the morning to prepare the turkey. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to get it on your calendars early. This is a free family event. It's free to anybody in the community. Oftentimes we get the question of, well, is it for the needy or not? And it's for everyone. So not just folks that may need it, but people to come out and be together as a community and really enjoy the time. Many of you have already been, and every year it seems to get a little better. So I wanted to extend that invitation. I will send an email to the city clerk to message all of you with the information and a flyer so that you have it for your refrigerators. Any questions?
Rich, do you guys need, you said you guys need help Friday night. Do you need help? Because I know the youth commission that I'm associated with is always looking for ways to volunteer. Would that be something that you could use their help with? Maybe with helping with table stuff or maybe the day of the event, stuff like that? Or do you think you got that handled?
And always do. And they do such a great job every time they come. Our youth commission here in town is so awesome. One of our members is also a youth commission adult
Jessica?
member. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I suspect that she'll be reaching out to the group as well.
Well, I'll make sure I put it on our December meeting. We just met last night, but we can talk about it on December, the first week. It'll be before the dinner, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Rich on this?
It's always a pleasure being here. Nice seeing everybody, and hopefully everyone can make it out to the community dinner.
All right. Well, thanks for the invite. We'll definitely try to be there as usual. Thank you, sir.
No more.
No more public comment? Okay. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to item I, which is reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. We'll start with Mr. Pratton.
Since our last meeting, I have not attended anything other than the county-city collaboration on the homeless, but I'll discuss that more at the last part of the meeting. That's it.
Oh, what's something? Is there a?
No, city council member updates.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. Okay. All right. Vice Mayor Sandhu?
Nothing to report tonight.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Reed?
Nothing.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Just real quick, we held the unmet transit needs meeting, and we had 7 additional people than we had the year before. So thank you to the city for putting out the advertising for that. I think it really helped, and hopefully we'll get momentum so people can be more involved. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Well, since you guys all skipped, you let me plenty of time. You're going to have to indulge me because I do have 2 things, and one of them is quite large. First of all, I met Youth Commission last night. It was a good meeting. We went over a lot of activities the Youth Commission is going to be involved with over the next couple months. They were out at the Saturday market, challenging people to questions, trivia questions, and if you didn't get it right, then you had to donate. So it was very lucrative. not a lot of people could answer some of the questions. I was very shocked at some of the questions that people didn't know. So, but it was fun and a lot of people engaged with them. So it was very good. And they're going to continue to do things like that moving forward. The other thing that, as Mr. Pratt mentioned, is he and I attended I call it the Homeless Summit. It's more like a summit, kind of a better description, right? It was quite the to-do, to be honest with you. It was in Sacramento. All the elected leaders of all the cities, most mayors, there was one council member, but most of the mayors were there. All the board of supervisors were there, including some other officials. There was lots of staff there. Ms. Carloni accompanied us as well. And she was there and gave a brief presentation for Galt. And it was they were calling it a historic meeting. It's the first time that all the elected officials have sat in the same room to talk about the issue of homelessness and what needs to change and what are we doing wrong and what course do we need to change. And I think it was I'll be honest, I was very pessimistic going into it because I've been a part of similar things. And I felt like it's just a lot of talking and a lot of, not a lot of action. But I feel like we all were kind of on the same page. We all shared our sentiments and our concerns. There was a lot of people there. We had people like Jim Cooper spoke, our Sac County DA, Mr. Ho, he spoke, along with a lot of people from the community. We had experts with mental health and so on, giving their input on things. And so I just wanted to share basically two things that we kind of all agreed on, that there needs to be more prevention. We spent $418 million last year in Sac County, and only 1% of that was spent on prevention or diversion, which to me is just putting the cart before the horse. Two of the biggest things that we felt that need to be addressed is on the mental health side. We feel like there's a lot of programs, but we're still struggling with getting people into those programs. A lot of them are still voluntary, and getting people to volunteer for those, whether it's mental health with mental health, mental illness, or drug dependency or something like that. It's been a challenge. And so things like Care Court and these kinds of programs, although seemed very optimistic rolling out, they still have some things that need to be tweaked and things need to be worked out to make them more efficient. The other big one was that we just simply struggle with affordable housing in our cities. And this is not something that we can solve in Galt or even in the county for that matter. This is something that we need help at the state level. We're just simply not building houses. Things like the Housing Accountability Act, the intention of that in the beginning was to, say to cities that you can't deny projects that came in that are intended for low-income people. That was the original intent of that, but it has morphed into something that just all developers hide behind, like we've witnessed. They come in and say, well, you can't say no to our projects. We need to be able to have those types of projects. We need to be able to be building houses, multi-residential, high density, and some of it be subsidized so that people can have places to live who are low income so they don't become homeless. So we need to get in the front end of it. And this is something that everybody there agreed with. We had a great dialogue. It was an all-day meeting. We all agreed to meet again, although I was a little disappointed that we didn't pick a date or pick some kind of whatever. But I'm going to be emailing them soon here and express my interest. I did get reached out to by someone today, one of the other cities, and wants to meet and talk about how that day went. So hopefully we can put together a ongoing meeting. Maybe it's every other month or every couple of months or something, where we can come together as a collaboration and have a big voice and advocate on behalf of all of our cities to the higher ups in the state to fix some of these things. So anyways, it was very good. You can watch it. It's on cable TV. If you go under the same network that films our meetings, it's on there, and it's very interesting. I would say anybody who's interested should check it out. So with that, that's all I have. We will move on to our consent calendar. So our information consent calendar is recommended that items 1 through 12 be acted upon simultaneously unless a separate discussion and/or request by a council member. Do we have any items to be pulled by council? All right, I'm going to pull item 9. And do I have any public comment on the consent calendar?
Yes.
Okay.
Gavin Boyne?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I do appreciate what you had to say about Cornell Road and Fairway Oaks. I attempted at sending you guys all an email because I was hoping I could put something up on the screen here, but maybe if you could review my email that should have went through. I took a stab at Tina's email because I've never emailed her before also. Excellent. Some of these photos you guys have already seen. I sent an email almost 2.5 weeks ago, right, that addressed KHOF and their road work going on with improper road closure, no traffic control plan in place, no flagging traffic control of any measure, no containment of the spoils. It was contaminated my neighbor's frontages, right? And then the last 2 photos are from yesterday. So we've had, like I said, a little over a week to clean this up. Tomorrow we're getting a 1/4 inch of rain. In a week from that, we'll be getting an inch of rain in 2 days. So I'm really concerned about this construction site by KHOF, right? This is stuff that I've brought up to some of you since July. These were things we could have got ahead of, but now it's becoming an issue, right? Our vehicles are getting trashed. Like I said, the front of our homes are just are getting contaminated, and I think what would really help is maybe some dates. We've been told since, and that's why I wanted to talk about this on agenda item 6, right? Because this all began with the sewer line install on Bernal. That's when our worlds first got turned upside down. That's when KHOF came in and they cut trees on properties they didn't have permission. They were trespassing on Bernal Road, which they only had permission on half of it, not the other half that they were blocking. They were parking equipment, blocking potential emergency vehicle responses. And Glendale's been a mess since they started for the most part. And I guess the main reason why I'm up here is at what point should we be holding them accountable, right? Like at what point is enough and they should stop work for at least a day? Because everyone knows the developers worry about 2 things: money, schedule. And right now it's very clear that KHOF is only worried about those 2 things, not the community around them. And I think it's time that it's past due on when we should stop them and have them correct and move forward when they're ready to move forward correctly. Because this isn't acceptable behavior. They're running all over you guys as far as the way that they're handling this job site. And I'm asking for help. For residents, for my neighbors, for all my surrounding community that they're impacting, because it's everybody. They're working 7 days a week now, which for me, I'm happy they'll be out of there sooner, hopefully. But things like completing the walls and the fences around the perimeter would probably help with a little of the noise, but out of sight, out of mind would be, I know I would appreciate that, and I don't think any of my neighbors would argue that they wouldn't appreciate that. But the continual track out, our vehicles are hammered. A lot of my neighbors have a lot of pride of ownership in their homes, including myself, and I don't know when I'm going to get my frontage back. Because right now there's chunks of asphalt mixed in with the dirt, there's uneven grades, there's import soil mounded in weird places. I'm trying to mow the field next to my home. I'm running over root balls that they dug up when they were doing their CMU wall install. They just threw it all on my property. Sunday I ran over a conduit that I asked them back in late July to remove from the property. Now the grass has overgrown it, and now I found it with my mower. So it's just continual ongoing neglect and abuse to the neighborhood around them. And I feel like at some point the city should have taken action and held them to their 48-hour notice for this road closure of Cornell. That is something that's required by your Public Works Department. And if it was an emergency, which it wasn't, but if it was an emergency, they still owed a phone call to Public Works' phone number. They still owed a phone call to Casumas Fire and the police department. It clearly states that in their general notes. I was going to share that as well. But they're not adhering to any of these things, and there's no consequences for it. So they're just proceeding. So I know we can't exchange or Q&A here, but if you could please think about that. Maybe if you get a chance, drive down Cornell Road and stop by the car wash when you're done, and then just kind of live in our shoes for a minute. How would you feel if I tore up your front yard and then told you we'll get to it maybe a year from now? It's just not fair to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can we pull that one for discussion?
Which item?
6.
Sure. We're gonna, so Mr. Reed has requested to pull item J6. All right. Any other public comment?
No.
For the consent? Okay, so we have item J6 and J9 have been pulled for discussion. So I will be looking for a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12. Just quickly, item 1 is the receive and file warrants. Item 2 is the minutes of the regular meeting from October 21. Number 3 is the letter to Caltrans regarding the Highway 99 corridor in Galt. Number 4 is the authorized interim city manager to execute a park development credit reimbursement agreement for Liberty Ranch. Number 5 is the cancellation of the November 18th meeting. Item 7 is the award of consulting engineering services contract for utilities. Number 8 is the Cease Rate Enhancement Project CIP final balance contract change order. Item 10 is the approval of the third amendment to the city manager's employment contract. 11 is the Gora Aquatic Center pool filter replacement. And item 12 is the approval of purchase of additional unmanned aerial systems for Frontline for law enforcement use. Do I have a motion to approve those 10 items?
Moved.
Moved by Councilmember Reed,
Second.
seconded by the Vice Mayor. We have a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton,
Aye.
Councilmember Reed,
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. 10 items approved, 5-0. All right, item J6, Mr. Reed.
So I had some questions for Director Griffin and basically anybody else, including the city manager, right? All of us on the council have been included in a lot of these emails that are going back and forth between Public Works and people from the community about a lot of the complaints that this gentleman brought up. My question is, we're continuing with more construction in that area done by relatively the same company that's been doing it up until now. What steps have we taken, or what steps do we plan on taking to try to mitigate some of the issues that they're having currently right now? I know that Trung's been doing a great job with trying to communicate back and forth, but it seems like, and I'm not involved in any of those conversations between him or them and the home builders, but I mean, what are we doing, or what can we do better to try to make sure that these types of things don't happen with the installation of this sewer line?
Thank you, Councilmember. I'm going to need to sit down with our staff and discuss these issues with our construction inspector. They've been out there and coordinating with them. It may be a point where we need to be a bit more firm with them than we have been.
Okay.
Can I jump in really
Yeah,
quick
absolutely.
and ask maybe more directly, and maybe this is a legal question. What hold does the city actually have to make them toe the line? I mean, it seems like I believe staff has tried to negotiate this or navigate through this, and obviously the message is not coming through. What can the city do to actually make them behave?
So, Councilmember Rodriguez, the city can and should and will investigate the complaints. And if the developer is not following the rules of engagement for development, we could essentially adopt the measures mentioned by the public speaker, which is really close them down. So there are stronger mechanisms that we have to hold them accountable to making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do in an appropriate manner.
And I think that's something that we should aggressively look into, because, we all know that they're not the only home builders in town. We've got all of the rest of them. And if I got 2 kids, and if one of them gets away with something, the other one tries to get away with a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, until the hammer comes down, and we draw the line and say, look, this is where we mean business. And so, and it may just be that one company, but I think that, you know, there's been several issues over the last few months that I think be great if we can look into it.
No, and totally agree. And, you know, this development is unique in so many ways, and we're very sympathetic to the people on Cornell, and we just need to do better.
Yeah, I would like to jump in and say, yeah, this project's the gift that keeps on giving, to put it bluntly. I mean, it is unique in the sense that it is one of the only projects that kind of is in close proximity to existing neighborhoods, and I think those are obviously a lot of the problems that we've had. But I don't really hear any complaints from anybody about other projects going on, and I hear complaints about this project all the time. Like, I would say daily I hear about it's literally just, they're just not being good neighbors. And Mr. Griffin made a comment a minute ago that we need to, maybe the time has come to start being more firm. I think that time was a long time ago. And so I appreciate, Chris, what you said, that we need to treat this with the utmost urgency, because, again, I just don't think it's fair that, you know, residents in the community be impacted by such things. I mean, they're going to be impacted, but I think everything that Gavin has brought up through his course of emails, and it's not just Gavin, I hear from a lot of other people too, but he's probably one of the more knowledgeable people on the construction aspects of it. But it's just, yeah, it's just not acceptable. And I'm actually personally just tired of making excuses on behalf of them, because I feel like that's what I've been doing lately, is just saying, well, I know, but, you know, well, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. So I think the point has been made. I think you guys get it. So if we can please look into these matters and see what we can do. And if we have to, you know, shut them down for a while until they can clean up what they're doing and hold them accountable, then that's what we need to do.
I'd like to add my name to supporting that.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. I'm agree with every council member. And you know, on the public work, maybe John, there might be somebody is the project manager. This is a city staff, or that's the somebody from you hire as a third party who is the responsible as a project manager, especially on that project?
So yes, we do have a consultant project manager and also consultant inspectors. We have one city inspector, and he doesn't have enough time in the day to cover all the projects. So we have consultants helping us on both those aspects. And yes.
Who is the person? Who's that person?
It is our former Director of Public Works, Steve Winkler.
Steve Winkler? Yeah.
I would have to talk to our
he's
staff to
not-
find out exactly how active he is. He takes direction from both me and from our city engineer. So I will need to have a better update on exactly how active he is.
So which third party he's working as a consultant?
So we have several consultants who are working with us to help us administer these development projects, both from a project management perspective as well as construction inspection. And so we utilize firms for plan check, firms for project management, firms for inspection. So some of the firms we use are on our on-call list. We use REY engineers for a lot of plan check. We've been using Wildan and Interwest for staff support services. We've been using KSN
But for things like
construction management.
what's going on here, like just the construction site, because I think what we're talking about is just construction site issues, not so much plans and inspections. Who's the one that so I know Trung is our intermediary, but does Trung deal with Steve Winkler, and then Winkler goes back to the contractor? Is that the process of how it goes?
Trung deals with both Steve and our inspector. So we have two different firms. We have Steve helping staff.
So Trung's not
administer-
having, so Trung doesn't actually have the authority to have direct contact with the
No, he does.
contractor?
He does.
Okay.
Yes.
But Winkler is in the mix of that.
Correct.
It's on. It's on. Good evening, Mayor, former council member. You know, talked to Gavin outside, and we are definitely sympathetic to, you know, the work and the disruption that they have out there. And I know that for a fact, if we keep on moving, we're going to get to a process where we're, you know, through with that area and moving forward. We have a consultant inspector, Jack Wilbur, and I'll communicate the message that you're sending us tonight. Definitely not acceptable what has happened, and we have a standing weekly meeting every Wednesday, so I will communicate this. I will reference the concern that you guys have, and obviously, you know, it's construction. It's, you know, at some point, that road will be installed, and, you know, the dust and, you know, the wall will be up, and we'll get to the point where they can be on their side. But we have to do a better job, obviously, of, you know, not affecting the people in Cornell and Burnell. And I'm committed to doing that, and, you know, we'll communicate that tomorrow during our meeting, and I'll follow up with John and Chris and keep you guys updated.
So Trung or John, could you just quickly please just describe briefly what number 6 is doing? Can you just for us and for the public, what number 6 is on the consent?
Yes. So item 6, there is a sewer main that is being constructed as part of this project, and Burnell Road is privately owned. So the developer is required to obtain an easement for us for the sewer and water mains, and then transfer that easement over to us. So the action tonight is to accept the offer dedication of an easement over the Brown property for the infrastructure that's required to serve the Fairway Oaks project.
So they're requesting it from us.
They're granting that easement to us.
This is just the paperwork. This isn't actual work. This is them giving us.
So the easement
rights.
will provide us with the rights to operate and maintain the infrastructure once we accept it.
Okay. So we're not granting them, but with that, they can't do this work without this item approved tonight, correct?
We cannot accept the improvements without, they've already performed the work. They already have a temporary construction easement
Okay.
to install the infrastructure. This is a permanent easement for us to be able to operate and maintain this infrastructure once we accept it.
Okay.
Mayor Farmer, can I add? This was all part of the conditions of approval for the whole project. That sewer line goes through there. It's part of the consultant, the developer's work to basically work with the homeowner to basically dedicate the easement over it so that we can maintain the structure that they're putting in.
Right. Well, I appreciate your comments, Trung. I know you're trying very hard, and I do appreciate your efforts. I would appreciate that conversation with the powers that be. And I just want to remind the staff that I'm sure you all know how people feel about development in this city. And when projects like this happen, it just makes it even worse, because this is why people get a bad taste in their mouth. So I appreciate any and all efforts you guys can make. Thank you.
One more comment. Just my concern is we don't have our next meeting has been canceled. You know, this could string on for another 4 or 5 weeks before we get a chance to comment on it again. So I just think it's important. There are rules that have been broken. We need to start.
We'll provide an update. I'll provide an update to council after Trung speaks to his group.
Well, I'm just saying we're tongue lashing right now, but we have no teeth between now and the next meeting. So,
Chris, I would like to also mention that, there has been some dialogue where staff has asked the residents if, please give them the opportunity to resolve things first before coming to elected officials. And I understand that, I do. But what I would say is you have to understand that the residents feel like they're not getting something. That's why they're coming to us. Yeah. And so I don't ever want to discourage people from doing that. I do understand that it is sometimes faster to go right to staff. But in this case, it seems like they weren't getting what they wanted. And so they came to us. So thank you, Trung. I appreciate it. Mr. Griffin, thank you for the comments on this. Are you satisfied with that discussion? Would you like to?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any comment on that particular item, public?
Just that one.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion to approve item J6.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Councilwoman Rodriguez. I will second. Can I have a roll call, please, on that item?
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor Farmer?
Yes. All right. Item J9 is the item I pulled. Mr. Griffin, so I just wanted to get some clarification. The way the staff report read is a little confusing. So we're looking at, we have an oxidation aerator at the plant. I know what those are. I've been out there and get the tours, and I did a little research today to kind of update myself on what they are. And so one of them has developed a vibration that's concerning, and so the thought is to replace it. But I'm confused on the staff report. It says that the parts are not of. Are we? So we're buying a replacement unit, and then we're going to take the unit that we're replacing and have them service it and keep it as a spare. Is that what it is?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The idea is we do not have any spare. So we have 2 units in each of our 3 oxidation ditches, and we do not have any spares on hand. So the idea is with this one that we're now starting to see a vibration in, this would replace that or allow us to replace it, and then we would take that piece of equipment and have it refurbished, and that way we have a spare on hand in case and we have a future problem with any aerators. These aerators are approaching 10 years old, and this is about the time that we would start to see some mechanical failure of these pieces of equipment.
Yeah, I did do some research, and 10 years is supposed to be the lifespan approximately. That's what I was told. And I know this is not something we went out to bid for. We're using West Tech, which is one of our preferred vendors, or they're on our regular vendor list. I mean, I don't know, this is kind of maybe a silly question, but I mean, are we confident that $113,000 is a fair price? As to be honest with you, I actually contacted another company to try to get another bid, just to get a ballpark number. Unfortunately, they require 24 to 48 hours to do that. And so I wasn't able to get any opinion. So I'm going into this kind of just on trust. But I always get nervous when we use, some of our event. I get it's quick, and I get that, and this is a wastewater treatment plant. It's very important. So, and I get all those things, but I just, in the first parts of my research, I was finding numbers like 30 or 40 grand for such a piece of equipment. So I was just like wondering why it was so much.
Yes, we do believe this is a fair and reasonable price, and the existing equipment is from West Tech as well. So that's another reason why we want to go with them, is to continue using the same pieces of equipment that we have out there now at the wastewater plant.
Okay.
So let me ask a question real quick then to our finance director. So if we have them as a preferred vendor, these things have already been worked out, correct? So the amount of money is based on a contract that they have to guarantee us a certain either a cost plus or a discount or something, so that we know we're getting a good price from them.
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right. Was there any further questions on this item?
Well, now I'm curious, does West Tech do any maintenance or fixing issues, or they simply are just a supplier?
My understanding is that they will also be evaluating the equipment and then repairing it as well. And that is all part of that price. So that price includes their time and assessment for identifying what the issues are and what we need to replace.
Okay.
So I just thought of another follow-up question when Bonnie asked that. Was it ever considered to just repair the unit, or because it looks like we're going to repair it anyways and keep it as a spare? Is it something to do with kicking it out of service during that time of repair, or what was the? Can you?
Again, the thought process is recognizing these pieces of equipment are approximately 10 years old, and not having any spares on the shelf. We wanted to have a spare on the shelf, and this allows us to put a new one in where we're recognizing we're having vibration issues on that one piece of equipment, and then get it repaired and have it on the shelf. So that's the reason.
And we have a number of these out there, right? And there's many.
There's a total of 6, 2 in each aerator, 2 in each oxidation ditch.
Okay. Any further comment from council? Is any public comment on this item? All right. Thanks for the explanation, John. I appreciate it. Looking for a motion to approve item Number 9, authorization to execute purchase order with West Tech in the amount of $113,580 for the purchase of an oxidation ditch aerator unit.
I move to approve as stated.
All right.
I'll second.
Moved by Pratton, seconded by Rodriguez. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton.
Aye.
Councilmember Reed.
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Item is approved 5-0. Moving on to item K, scheduled matters, notice of public hearing. Do we have any this evening?
No.
All right, moving on to item L, regular calendar. The first item is going to be from the Parks and Rec. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not from the Parks and Rec Department. It is the Parks and Recreation Commission appointment. Ms. Hubert?
So the recommendation is Councilmember Pratton appoint a community member to the Parks and Recreation Commission to fill a vacant position and remaining term ending December 2028. The vacancy on the Parks and Rec Commission is due to the resignation of Francisco Gallegos Jr., and city staff advertised the vacancy on the city's website and social media sites. 2 applications were received, and both applicants meet the required qualifications, and they are Robert Wilson and Jody Abarca, and it is Councilmember Pratton's appointment.
I would say we had 2 excellent applications, and I'm going to appoint Jody Abarca.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 2 is from the City Manager's Office, approval of the 2025 to 2027 strategic plan.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Amy Mendez, Assistant City Manager. I am here this evening to request approval of the 2025 to 2027 City of Galt Strategic Plan. Uh-oh, it looks like this isn't lining up properly. We'll get through it. As you may recall, Juan Lopez was the facilitator of this year's strategic planning session. He met individually with council members to explore issues, concerns, and priorities that individual city council members had. This was followed by a one-day planning session with the executive team to review the previous strategic plan and understand the city council's feedback regarding current concerns and future priorities. On August 25th, City Council and the executive team met during a one-day strategic planning session to collaborate on the upcoming strategic plan and ensure alignment of goals and priorities. Following this session, staff finalized the strategic plan priorities that we will present this evening for approval. Once adopted, the strategic plan will be presented to the City Council every quarter to review progress towards achieving established goals. So this is essentially the plan that we worked on together during the strategic planning session, and these are the tasks and priorities that were assembled as part of our discussion. The strategic plan priorities remain the same as our former strategic plan, which are quality of life, economic development, fiscal sustainability, infrastructure, responsible growth, and employee engagement. The entire strategic plan and all of the affiliated strategic tasks are in the staff report as an attachment. This will basically just cover those main strategic priorities and some of the overarching items that we're going to be focusing on as part of the strategic plan. So under quality of life, the strategic outcome is to preserve and improve Galt's small town charm. The strategic tasks, really the main focuses are the Parks Master Plan, the Galt Civic Master Plan and Old Town Visioning Process, public safety outreach and communications, addressing the unhoused in Galt, focusing on community engagement and beautification of Galt. And again, there are strategic tasks associated with each one of these items. Under economic development, the strategic outcome is to pursue economic development opportunities to attract and retain quality industrial and retail users that enhance the quality of life for Galt residents. The focus really is on retail and industrial business attraction within the community, developing readiness of future industrial sites specific to the Kessler property and property north of Twin Cities, the 400-acre industrial site, focusing on business retention and expansion efforts of existing businesses in the community, and revitalization of Old Town Galt. Under fiscal sustainability, the strategic outcome is to ensure that the city has viable and sustainable financial resources. Tasks associated with this include focusing on fiscal reporting, implementing a city pension stabilization policy, retaining focus on fiscal priorities through financial policies, focusing on a new financial system to support citywide efficiencies. That's actually an item that we will be discussing later this evening on this agenda. Updating the cost allocation plan and converting to monthly utility billing. Under infrastructure, the strategic outcome is to maintain and improve the city's transportation, utility, parks, and facilities infrastructure to ensure and protect the community's health, safety, and quality of life. Focusing on major capital projects that are underway currently, upcoming capital projects that are planned for the near future, identifying funding for consultant support for future grant applications, identifying funding for a citywide GIS system, and modernizing and maintaining city technology systems related to infrastructure. Under responsible growth, strategic outcome is to maintain the city's small town charm and quality of life through innovative and efficient growth, focusing on the 2050 general plan update that will be kicking off next year, reviewing and improving internal review processes for residential development projects, updating the utility master plan and transportation master plans through the city, identifying infill areas that may need infrastructure investments to facilitate development, creating incentive programs to incentivize residential infill and high-density development, exploring opportunities for affordable housing, and exploring funding for a new permitting system in the building department, planning department, and public works. For employee engagement, which is the last priority we have, the strategic outcome is to build a culture of connection, recognition, and growth, foster collaboration and boost employee morale, enhance job satisfaction, drive performance across departments, and foster a workplace where employees feel valued and appreciated, focusing on improving retention and succession of employees, building the bench with employee training, professional development, and opportunities for internal mobility, growing our people with education and training, and integrating the city's organization culture into daily operations, decision-making, and employee interactions. That concludes the presentation this evening for the strategic plan. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, we will be returning this on a quarterly basis to cover these items and progress that's been made. In addition, there will be potential asks for funding as we go through implementation of the strategic plan over the next 2 years, which we'll touch on either through appropriations individually on items or through the budget process.
So Mayor, before turning it over to you all for questions or comments, I just would like to add that I want to thank you and thank the directors for the effort to create this plan. I think it is an excellent strategic plan. And I think, as mentioned, this can help guide our next budget cycle. So our next budget process really should reflect the priorities that we have identified here. This was I don't want to say lengthy process. I think it went fairly well at both the larger meeting and then the individual meetings we had, but it was very informative, and I think the end result is a good plan. And the goal is to report out, as Amy mentioned, regularly on our progress toward achieving it.
All right, thank you. And thank you for the presentation, Ms. Mendez. I just had a quick question. I'm assuming that the item under the, it was the second to last section. Yeah, right there, responsible growth. I'm assuming that number 2, the review and improve internal review processes, is that kind of the language that would constitute us looking at our turning our subjective into objective design standards and stuff. That's that, right? Okay, I just want to make sure that was in there.
Yes.
That's a
There's
huge
lot of-
priority.
Yeah, and there is detail under each of these items in the actual strategic plan itself. We will publicize this once council has adopted it. We will push it out through social media and add a city newsletter item this week as it relates to connecting it on our website so that folks can take a look at it in detail.
And I'm glad to see, and I know I remember talking about it now, but the various things up there where trying to incentivize the residential infill, high density development, trying to find and then explore opportunities for affordable housing. Those two items, obviously we talked about that were important, but after that meeting that I was at, it really kind of think that there really are very, very more important than we even talked about. So I'm glad that we had those on our strategic plan because those are challenging things, and whatever we can do locally to help that. I know it's a huge, huge challenge, but does anybody have any questions about their strategic plan?
Oh, I don't have a
Comments?
question, but thank you for the staff. I know we spend a lot of time, and I hope we will follow that strategic plan for 25, 27. Thank you again for the staff spending a lot of time. Everybody spent a lot of time. I support that plan. Thank you.
I'd like to say, yeah, I like the plan. I like the way it was presented, and I like the fact that we're going to come back and revisit this on a regular basis. As demonstrated in an earlier conversation tonight, we've kind of added an additional item onto this thing unofficially to hold our contractors accountable.
Well, yeah, I mean, number one priority up there is quality of life, and clearly, the quality of life for some people is not that great at the moment. So we want to make sure we start off on the right foot. But yeah, I am happy though that the five of us were able to, we all have, like Bonnie and I were talking about this earlier today. The five of us each have kind of things that are kind of our pet things that we really, are kind of most interested in. But I think overall, this council has been very of one mind about what we want the vision for the city of Galt to be, and that is to continue with, the quality of life, our small town feel, trying to retain that with various things, focusing on things that keep that feel, and obviously all the other things on that list kind of fall just in behind that. But I'm glad that we all agree on that making things the best they can for the people of Galt is the top priority. So anyways, thanks for the presentation. I look forward to seeing the updates as we move through, and I know we have one item coming up next. So looking for a motion. Is there any public comment on that?
No.
Okay. All right, we're looking for a motion to adopt a resolution approving the 2025 to 27 City of Galt Strategic Plan. Moved by Vice Mayor Sandu. I will second that. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton.
Aye.
Councilmember Reed.
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Resolution approved 5-0. Next item is from the Finance Department, approval of an enterprise resource planning system.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Lila Minor, Finance Director. Since I've been here with the city, there's been a lot of discussion about how the current financial system is just really outdated and we need to move to the modern age of technology, which is, enterprise resource planning system, or an ERP. So throughout this process, we've looked at other systems and we've decided to go with Oracle NetSuite for Government. NetSuite is a subsidiary of the larger Oracle system. The only difference is that NetSuite is specifically tailored for smaller local agencies such as ourselves. They're also a cloud-based solution, so we feel that this meets our needs. Just to give you a little bit of background, the city currently uses many different software systems to perform our financial, HR, and utility billing duties. Our current financial system is called Central Square Naviline, and there's just many limitations because it's so outdated. And from an operational and technological perspective, it just makes it really difficult to meet some of the current requirements. Because we're having to, use multiple programs, sometimes we're having to do a manual approach to some of our processes to get the data that we need. And, with that, it can cause a lot of inefficiencies. It's really time consuming, and, when you have manual processes, it's also prone for error. Not only that, there is an ability to integrate or communicate with other citywide systems, and this is extremely important when it comes to financial reporting. We need to make sure that we have all of the data and that we can, capture everything. And also, lastly, the current version of Naviline that we're, our financial system that we're currently using will no longer be supported by the city, by the vendor. So this is going to create significant security, operational, and compliance risks. So the benefits of an ERP solution, it's to improve business process efficiencies, electronic process workflows and approvals. It'll eliminate any duplicate and manual systems, enhance customer experience, increase visibility and transparency, and it'll also allow us to kind of look at our current business practices and to see, what we can do to improve and move towards best practice models. And so, for example, one of the things is to move towards monthly utility billing. Right now, because our current system is so outdated and the process is so manual, it makes it difficult for us to have to do monthly billing. So with this new system, it'll help us move towards that. In addition, this also supports priority number 4 of fiscal stability of the strategic plan, which was just adopted. So why Oracle NetSuite for Government? As I said, they're focused on small to mid-sized local government agencies. They have a lower total cost of ownership compared to having something in-house. They are flexible and adapt to our needs. They also have Government Accounting Standard Boards, or GASB reporting, which helps us remain fiscally compliant. Not only that, they have proven and best-in-industry security. They have really strong encryption and have a lot of layers of additional protection. Not only that, the interface is really easy to use. They have AI capabilities, and their customer service is really, they have really good customer service. Right now with Naviline, because it's so outdated, we're having difficulties with technical and customer service support when it comes to meeting the needs of our current program. The contract that you'll be that's coming with this comes with the finance, HR and payroll, and utility billing module. We're going to be doing this as a phased-in approach, starting with the finance module first. It'll come with data conversion, training, live and post-go-live support. And with that, we're asking, staff recommends entering into a NASPO Value Point Participating Addendum, establishing the Finance ERP Capital Improvement Project, executing ordering documents. Now, the cost of the one-time implementation and the 3-year licensing term is $854,681, so we're asking for an appropriation of that from available fund balance. And so how this is going to be broken up is out of that $854,000, $668,000 will be a general fund cost, and the remaining $186,000 will come from the enterprise funds. Costs will be expended as each program phase begins, and once fully implemented, it's anticipated that any licensing or maintenance costs from our existing systems will, we can eventually eliminate that, which will ultimately lead to about $100,000 savings ongoing. Again, it's a one-time implementation, and then the annual ongoing cost for the licensing is $110,000 per year. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I do have Mark Johnson here from NetSuite if you have any other questions regarding the system.
All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. So my understanding, the one-time cost is the 854, and then there's going to be, we have an ongoing yearly of 100 for,
The licensing. It's for the license for the system.
right? That's, I'm familiar with software. Like I said, I was dealt with that kind of stuff for years, but I don't know.
This
I've
is
just
gonna-
never heard of software that like the licensing cost 1/8 of the original purchase of it. That's like, it seems super high to me. What comes with the license upgrades? What other things are, you want to elaborate on that, sir?
I would. I'd like to. So I'm Mark Johnson from NetSuite for Government, and actually the fees that she's showing there is the total project, including 3 years of licensing.
Okay.
So that's it's. If you take out $330,000, that's the licensing or the subscription cost for the 3 years. So it's closer to 5.
So on year 4, we'll start with the $100,000 licensing.
Correct. 110.
So for the initial rollout cost, is this, I'm assuming this includes staff training,
Yes.
support? What about tech support? How does that fall into everything?
Yeah, tech support's included in the annual fee, but during the implementation, you have tech support as well, obviously. And then this also includes integrations with 4 of the systems that the city's using today. And it includes historical data migration as well. But then we'll do the training and we'll work with your team and set up the software. One thing that's unique about us is our team came together about 5 years ago, and I actually worked for the company that's supplying your software today. And back in 2000, when I was working for them, Naviline was old then. So I think you folks really need to move forward. There's definitely a need there. And what we've done, so we're a business unit within Oracle specific to local government, and we're specifically targeting or working with small to mid-sized local government agencies. Our entire stack, if you will, is Oracle. So it's Oracle database, Oracle application, Oracle cloud, and it's all hosted and maintained by our teams. So it's a proven solution, and we've taken and brought it to local government. We've got about 70 customers in the last 3 years. Since I started, there was 1 customer.
What are some customers around us that we might know?
We have Southern California. There's about 5 cities in Southern California. I can get you a list, but it's Arcadia, Placentia. And then throughout the state, there's 9 customers total right now. Across the country, there's about 16 that are specifically city customers.
So I know, and I'm sorry,
That's okay.
it's Layla, right?
It's Lila.
Lila, okay, I'm sorry. Lila, some of the complaints that we have are regarding, and I don't know if these are tied into some of the systems that we'll be replacing with this, some of our business license stuff, utility payment. As a matter of fact, I went to pay my city of Galt bill yesterday, and it literally was super difficult. Like I had to, I just did it right now. It takes like 7 clicks just to get, I know that's a website thing and that's not the system, but it's like this little tiny hyperlink at the bottom that says pay now. It's like, it should be just, I'm just saying this out loud because I'm thinking about it. I think that I would guess that a large number, the large percentage of people that even visit our city website probably do so to pay a utility bill. So I think that we need to rethink like something on the main page to make it, because I was like, is it under business? It is under our city. And I had to like figure out where it was at, and it's way down at the bottom. And I don't know, just telling you. So tell me how this is going to streamline. Give me some examples of some things that this would streamline. And I don't just mean for the staff's function. I mean, how is this going to improve this money? How is this money going to improve the customer experience? Let me put it that way.
So number one, this will allow us to do monthly billing, which will, maybe help with some of the shutoffs that we're currently experiencing right now. Because having a 2-month bill, it can be costly for some individuals who don't have that readily available. There's a lot of dashboards that we can, for real-time tracking that they can look at and view. It does integrate with our business licenses. And a lot of, some of the stuff from the Galt market, we were able to integrate some of those systems as well. Not only that, since we're going to be looking at our business processes and, updating some of those, we would have the ability to possibly do electronic payments instead of, cutting checks. So our vendors and would be able to receive payments a lot faster, and it'll also save on the costs of, mail and
Bless
paper
you.
checks. So, and as well too, for transparency purposes, we would have the ability for, our residents to see, budget to actuals in a real-time form.
So this is a citywide system. This is not just for the this is
This is a citywide system, that's correct. So it's not, it's a financial system, but it's going to integrate with a lot of the citywide processes that we do have. So it's just kind of taking all of the different processes and software that we currently have and just kind of making it into one package.
all right. I'm going to ask if you want to maybe stay up at the podium in case council members have questions for you. Anybody want to kick us off?
Sure, I'll start. The new software, I have a couple of things. What is it going to do for public-facing budgetary things? We have certain individuals that are very keen to our budget, and I'm not going to point fingers, but they are asking for more transparency when it comes to budgets. And what is this software going to do for us as on the forward-facing part of our budget?
This will allow us to kind of run a lot more better reporting. There's a lot of dashboards that customers are able to customize that they can use. Again, this will integrate with our budget system so that we can again do real-time budget to actuals. So they can on a daily basis be able to go onto our website and look just how much we spent from our budget. So.
Okay. And then my next question is for Mr. Mort. I work for the state, and the approval process for something like this is, 12, 18 months because of all the security and all this other. What is the city's evaluation process for evaluating one of these systems from the cybersecurity standpoint?
Yeah, so I reviewed some of the documentation that they provided it was very detailed, very long. It looked very thorough. We had a few meetings so far with Mark and the team. We were able to ask some questions about how we integrate it with our current, like our user authentication. How will they log in? How will we keep it secure? All indications so far, plus just the name Oracle and knowing that they're used for other agencies and private sector businesses. And they're, very big name. All indications, show that it should be secure.
Okay. And then my last one is, do we see any other areas in the city in which, once we get this up and running and we all love it, or we don't, whatever do we see other areas in which we can expand, like other modules that we can use for other parts of Public Works or Parks and Rec or other areas?
There is ability to expand on certain things, but because this is, specifically tailored towards like the utility billing and financials, we can integrate with other Oracle systems, like for example, like the permitting system. Oracle does have, a software system specifically for our permitting, which can integrate with NetSuite. Again, NetSuite is a lot smaller than the big Oracle, and it's just because we wanted to, it's tailored towards smaller agencies like us. So
that's all.
Can I add something on the security side?
Yeah.
So the very first customer for Oracle was the CIA. They're still a customer today, as well as all the branches of the military. So our security has to be as bulletproof as possible.
Thank you.
Lila, thank you for this report. My question is, I know there's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
This is a public money. And what kind of benefit the new system will be a normal citizen? I know it can be a benefit to the staff, it can be easy to look at the report. What kind of benefit is a normal person going to pay the bill, going to look at the business license? Can you explain to the public?
They'll be able to, access the system really easy. And again, it'll have real-time dashboards when it comes to usage. They'll be able to see, like, a dashboard of like their usage so far and do a comparison regarding what they've used month to month so they can see, if there's any kind of issues and that they can address those, with the department a lot faster. Again, it'll allow us to kind of change our practices to make it a little bit more best practice model. We can go to a monthly billing.
So this system also can help to, for example, if somebody fill an application for a minor development.
A reminder
So-
for,
Yeah, minor development means if somebody can do the addition, somebody can
Like
do
planning
the-
department.
Yeah. If they fill an application in a community development, they can see their application, now the application in community development is approved, it's going to the public work. Right now, the system does not show that. Is that can help or not?
at this time, no. Not for building permits and all
What
of
about
that
the new
stuff.
system?
It doesn't have that ability right now. Like I said, it's a lot smaller. The bigger Oracle system would have that, and it does have the, if that's something that we are going to do, may be something that we can integrate. But as far as, being able to see those approval processes, this system doesn't have that.
Okay. And my maybe last question, on the report, it says can help to $100,000. It can be in the future, it can save to the city for that system. Can you might be detail how it can save?
Right now, Central Square and Avaline is what we're currently using as our financial system, and that's about $75,000 annually. We have Forte, which is our online payment processing, which is about $7,000. TCP is our timekeeping tracking system. It's going to be about $7,000. And then the reporting that we use to help develop our annual comprehension financial plan is about $10,000. So that's about $100,000 annually, because those systems can eventually go away once we integrate fully.
So that means the new system, which can be reduced the
Yes.
work, it can save $100,000 each year, and it also can be integrate all the department, and that's why we may be leaning towards this new system, right?
That's correct.
Thank you. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Quick question. So in the vetting process for this, we're at the sales point, right? What about, did we make some phone calls to some other cities and
Yes, we
talk to
did. We've
what
discussed with,
their stuff
I've
is?
met and had some conversations with other cities who've had some kind of, with competing type of systems, and a lot of them have discussed about the time it took for the integration. It took years, and some of them, like the city of Tracy, it took they're still working on implementing, and it's on their 7th year, and the costs are really expensive. Not only that, anytime they have to make a change or update any of their systems, it costs, additional. They have to do another purchase order, and they have to go to council, and it costs additional just for them to make any kind of change to their system. With this, we wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, and another thing is when we're delivering the services, those are billed as incurred. So if you don't need as much help as what we've outlined in the proposal, you're not going to get billed for that. And then the actual subscription is billed, and that's monthly. And then the subscription part is billed quarterly in arrears. So you don't pay for the first 3 months, you don't pay until the end of that. But one of the reasons that we exist is because we were hearing from the marketplace, and I've been doing this, I've been working for 26 years with local government and specifically ERP. And one of the big reasons that we exist is because our competitors are not delivering great software, and they're, on top of that, not delivering great customer service experience. And so we're trying to turn that on its side entirely and provide a kind of a white glove experience. And some of those implementations that she was referring to that have taken years and years, a lot of that's because they use a third-party implementation team. And we do all of our implementations ourselves, and we have some really stellar people on that team that are delivering success. And I can confidently tell you that we're very much pleasing the people that we're working with.
What can we expect as far as you've been talking about implementation time? what's a realistic time frame of implementation with the size of our city and the size of our staff that you feel confident that you can train our staff and then be comfortable with using it, and you'll see the support kind of taper off to the. I mean, how much time frame do you think it's going to take?
So for the financial side, probably 7 to 9 months to go live on financials, and then HR and payroll could be overlapped, and then UB also overlap for that. So it could be 12 months to 18 months total to get everything live and up and running.
And I did speak to the city of Placencia, who, you know, they've been go live for about 5 months, and they told me that it took them about 5 months to implement their financial system. So, and they're a small city just like us.
And I've had 2 customers up in Oregon that went live in 4 months, but we want to make sure that we go at your pace. We don't want to rush you through it, but at the same time, we don't want to drag you along.
So our current systems that we use, and I know when I say systems because we're using kind of a hodgepodge, and maybe this is a question for Rodney too, but they're basically not, are any of those cloud-based or some of them? I mean, I know I'm thinking back with our cyber problem that we had a few years ago, and we lost a lot of stuff because we weren't. So basically, those systems, we do cloud backups and all that stuff now, but the systems we're currently using are not cloud systems.
The current finance system is actually cloud.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And something to add really quick just on the process, just as an example of where we're currently at. When we have to pay for something in the city, we print it on a piece of paper, we go to the printer, grab it, stamp it with an ink stamp, fill it out with a pen, either bring it to finance, or for a lot of our buildings, we have intercity mail where somebody delivers paper from another building to the finance department. Then they do the whole paper check printing process of printing it, doing the postage, mailing it. So we hope, if all goes well, all that becomes paperless and streamlined. And some of that may be hard to quantify, like the hard cost, but the staff cost, you know, and potentially requiring less staff as we grow, or, you know, there's some savings there, I think, as well.
I know that the vice mayor was asking about, and I did ask as well. You know, what's the customer experience going to be? And I get that this is not something we're rolling out to the public for the public to mainly use. There will be some usage from the public, but mainly this is what I'm hearing is that the customer experience will hopefully be improved because of the efficiencies by the staff. Yes. And if those processes can be streamlined and be improved, then it's obviously going to be a better experience for the customer on the front end when they come into the finance department, correct?
That is correct.
It's also my understanding that the current system we're using doesn't allow us to do, like we've been talking for a while about going back to monthly billing. There's been a big deal about people's bills. Because we bill every other month, people's City of Galt bills are very high, and we thought it would be, you know, easier impact on people's household incomes to be able to pay, you know, $150 a month instead of $300 every other month. Our current system doesn't allow us to do that, right?
It's really time consuming, and because it's really manual and complex, it makes it very difficult for us to do a monthly, you know, and just the time that it takes for us to gather all the information of the data, you know, it just takes a lot of time.
And I know we have a public comment on this. Go ahead. Yes, I'm sorry.
Just really quick, because I'm lazy. Will the system set up for automatic withdrawals like I do with SMUD? They can go ahead and pull that out, and I'm never late.
In fact, the back end, the system, so we took the larger Oracle Energy and Water Utility Billing Solution, and we've right-sized it for small organizations. That's what SMUD uses, that's what PG&E uses. So on the back end, it's the same as what you're doing now.
Because the less I have to go onto the website to find to pay, the better for me.
Yep.
I just to put in a little bit of perspective, I know it's a different industry, but in my previous job, we did something like this about 20 years ago. And that number right there is a lot less than what we had to do with all of our finances, everything that went through. The migration system took quite a while, and our annual fee after that was not quite as much as this, but also we weren't as labor intensive and as important. So I actually was surprised at these numbers and very grateful that staff went through and did some homework on this. I personally am in favor of moving forward with this, but I would like to hear from the public as well.
Is it okay if we hear public comment real quick before we make any more comments? All right, Tina.
Harry Wenzel.
Mr. Wenzel, I would have been disappointed if you did not speak on this item.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It was.
I didn't plan on speaking tonight. I was very busy and I didn't have a chance to really read through everything. But this is just too much not to touch. First off, when we had the strategic planning meeting, I was very in favor, and I'm still very in favor of an ERP system. It'll change your life if you do it right, okay? And I see there's a lot of struggles. So I'm just going to bring up a few things, kind of pile on. I really appreciate what the council did tonight. There was some really good questions. And so I'm going to just pile on a little bit on that. At the end of the day, I think there needs to be an expectation. So as a citizen, I'm going to say, well, we take about 8 to 9 months to issue a financial statement. I'd like to know what the goal would be, if you can integrate that. We don't see quarterly, we don't see monthly, and I don't see why, if you hire a company like Oracle, who's very, very well respected, of course. If you don't have stock in Oracle, you're missing it, So I'd like to see these expectations, everything down to maybe a little more granular. Maybe reporting that the city manager and finance and so forth can get into who's late on their payments for rent, things like that. See, the mayor, the council, citizens, who's late, who's delinquent. When we have reports like the warrants report, which I've complained about before, and I dare anybody to show me where that report is really worth the time that's put into it. We don't even know who these people are and what they're doing, and so forth. And then I just see a lot of advantages. But when I do look at what you see up there on the screen, I see general fund, $668,000. I realize, there's probably like, that $100,000 of, I don't know, we used to call it maintenance, but that's where all your finance and so forth. So what I see is sewer, solid waste, storm drain, and water. If anybody has looked at their utility bill lately for water, sewer, and garbage, that's it. So that's the main focus of what we're doing. So as I understand the software, it's like we're getting these modules that fit into Oracle's, they are the kings of database. And it fits into their database, and that we would tack on some things as we go. There's sort of like canned programs. So, and having done, an ERP system in a really large international company, I was kind of like with Bonnie, I was like, well, it's not such a bad, we were looking at 20 million for what we did, but it was not Oracle, but it batted off Oracle's database, okay? So I don't know, on the one side, I don't know what to say about the price, but I didn't hear that we heard what other, who the competitors would be. I've been out of that business for 20 years, but I don't know who the competitors would be, and so I don't have a big issue with that. That's up to the council to decide. But I would like to see some expectations of when you're said and done 2 years from now, what's it going to look like? What is the citizen, how does the interface change with the citizen? People like me, like I mentioned to Rodney, hey, it'd be nice if we could kind of open up and we could see what's the chart of accounts, and if we could actually data mine off of what's going into the accounts, and we could understand which accounts go into which classifications on the financial statements. And I'll say it again, I would like to see a common thread between your budget items and your financial statements. And I would like to see like the budget be a paper like we saw the last time. If we're not going to go back to the big paperweight, I'd like to see it like that. But the question would be, could you drill? You know, could you say, well, I wonder what is it that goes into, one of the things I'm always harping on is what are we doing with Cal Waste and the franchise fees? What could we learn from that? But I'm very in favor with this. And as I look down the row of our staff here, we got a lot of young people, and it's a sweet spot. I think that it's time for it's time to bring in something like this. This staff right here, you don't have a bunch of relics there that go, well, we never did it that way. Why are we doing it that way? Hopefully they've all died off or retired, you know. But every time I deal with staff, I watched them in the strategic planning. I'm very impressed with staff. And I just think that this would be a catalyst, and it could really be something big for the city. And that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wenzel. Any other public comment, Tina?
No.
So yeah, I mean, when I first saw the staff report, I was like, wow, it's a lot of money. And so, but I did do some checking around as I do, and it's, it is par for the course. And there was some that were more, out there in the world. And so I just think of it as like, we're operating a huge company. The city is a company. And if this is the backbone of our financial whatever, we have to have something that's good. I mean, because you kind of like, in some respects, you get what you pay for. And if he's telling us that the system we're using now was old in 2000, that was 25 years ago. I mean, so I think it pays to put money in the right spots. I do think that some of the things that are mentioned, the efficiencies, we're not going to be able to put our finger on and say, look, we've saved that much money here. But there is some, like what Roddy mentioned, with the way things have to pass between departments, there's going to be some things that are going to be hard to put our finger on what exactly we saved. But if we can streamline things and make things better for the public on the back end, because we're making it easier on the front end for the staff, then I think it's worth it. So putting a lot of faith in it, but look, we need to upgrade. Just the fact that it's that old, the stuff we're using, to me, we have to change. So anybody else got any comments? No?
I did have a follow-up to something that Mr. Wetzel did say. What was the bidding process, if you will, and how did we settle on Oracle?
We didn't do a bidding process. What we've done is we've kind of pulled surrounding cities who've used, existing systems that they currently have, some of the challenges they've had, costs that they've used, and and I've also had experience with Oracle in Sacramento. So, I feel like they're really reputable. They're great, when it comes to their reporting. And so that's how we were able to come up with that. And it's also, it's with our purchasing policy, we do have the ability to kind of work and use another cooperative agreement.
So the cooperative agreement that I found, the NASPO Value Point participating addendum that is with Oracle, led by the state of Utah, also shows a contract, if you will, or a master agreement between Oracle and the city of Banning for what seems to be, because I can't see exactly what is on ours compared to theirs, because they line out all of theirs. And I did a short little research on Banning, and it's roughly about the same size as us, 29,000 people. And their contract shows that their total price is $299,750. So one of my questions would be, I obviously can't compare apples to apples because I don't have that. But if the city's roughly about the same size, why are we paying so much more?
They didn't use all the modules.
Okay.
So they switched their financials. And I don't think they have a utility billing.
Okay.
And I did reach out to them as well and spoke to them.
Okay. We've had things in the past about not having, multiple bids and looking at other options. So it just,
Well, I mean, we're required to go out to public bid we're usually required to go out for public works projects, but in these kinds of things it's not required by law. But yeah, it's always good to shop around for sure. But I do appreciate the fact that you've checked with other cities and talked. I think it's important when you go and you talk to other entities and they say, this is what we like and this is what we've used. So we're not just, this isn't something that just came out and we're going to be the guinea pig, right? So what I care about is that you get good support, because what I always say, look, being a business owner in two different businesses, being a contractor for 20 years and then being on the retail side for eight or 9 years now, there's more to a good deal than a good price. When I say a good deal is a full package. A good deal is getting a good product, it's getting good service, it's getting a good support for that product. And when you're dealing with software and stuff, that's obviously huge. So it's not always the best price. We can't always look at things like we're going to get the best price. If we were buying a pickup truck for public works, that's different because, well, it's still, I guess it's not different. You still want to make sure you get a good warranty and stuff. So even on that instance, it would still apply. But in this instance here, it's not so much, we can't get hung up so much on the dollar amount. We got to get hung up on, the reputation of the company that's delivering the product and all that stuff. So that's the way I think about it. So yeah, but that's a great question. Is that's significantly less, but it makes sense what she said, right? That they're not using because it's scalable. So, Ms. Rodriguez or Mr. Pratton, Vice Mayor, anything else from you guys? Questions?
Actually, maybe point out though, because I did ask this earlier, that going to what Rodney was talking about, this going paperless for the most part. That it also does it for HR, so employees now with this system can go on and look at their own HR or, their payroll, and we won't have to be picking up our little.
Yes, you'll have it'll be electronic pay stubs. So.
Right, I mean, and that is eventually, I know that's minimal cost savings, but, overall, it brings us back, into the 21st century, 22nd century. No, but I think it's good. I did have a question on insurance, but I did find it in here. I am curious though on Oracle's policy of breaches, for one, since we had our breach, and loss. I don't know anything about the cloud, so please excuse my ignorance. I send it up. I have no idea where it goes. It comes back down when I ask for it. But is that always a guarantee? And if that doesn't happen, all of our financial records are somewhere up there. What does that look like? How do you get that back if there's a hiccup in the cloud?
in the cloud.
So I'm not positive of the specific answer. I don't want to speak out of turn, but breaches are covered in our agreements and what we're providing. It has to be, especially with. There's 42,000 customers worldwide running NetSuite, the commercial version of NetSuite. So a breach there is just as damaging as in a local government organization. So it's in there. I don't have it at my fingertips right now.
Hopefully we don't need a reason for that.
Your concern is, to understand, you're asking like if there was a breach of our data was compromised or something, right?
Right. Does that just necessarily in the cloud mean that there's less opportunity for something like that?
You're much more secure in our cloud than you would be hosting this in-house. We have 1,000 or over 1,000 people in the organization that just do ethical hacking to try and break into our systems.
Yeah. So it's basically like, it'd be like someone trying to hack into the city of Galt and all of our stuff was on our own servers. Whereas in this case, you're going to have to hack into Oracle and get stuff off their servers. So I imagine the redundancy you guys have is probably just like, especially if they're operating government agencies and stuff, is going to be super. So our stuff being cloud-based, which basically our stuff is on their servers and we're pulling from it. That's how it works. So as they're working, it's nothing's stored on her computer or her computer. It's all in the cloud.
Yeah.
The cloud is basically their database, on their database.
Which I guess is the need for the fiber in, that we just approved as well. But that actually opened up a question. Okay, I understand we're protected from the breaches, but, and again, excuse my ignorance, but Amazon just went down. What are the chances of something like that interfering with daily workflow of Oracle's cloud?
So yeah, our cloud involves a lot of redundancy. So if one data center were to have an issue, it would automatically fail over to another data center. And they're in different parts of the country. I think there's 3 to 4 that you would be simultaneously backed up on. And so if there was a failure in one data center, you wouldn't even know it. I mean, it would just, I'm not sure what happened. I can't speak to the Amazon issue, but that was
I just know that those
interesting to
gamers were
watch.
very upset.
And airlines, there was some airline stuff going on.
Yeah, I think the only weakness we would have would just be our connection to the cloud. So if our provider, whoever that is that we pay for as a provider, went down, then we would lose our connection to our database.
Right.
That's the only time when on-site data is helpful, but most of the other 90% of the time it's not. So I was looking at her screen about the insurances. So you have low risk. These are the insurances that come with with our agreement, right? It's $2 million for low risk data, $5 million for moderate, and $10 million for high risk. So I mean, those are significant numbers. So I mean, that's great that that's all in there. It just shows, when I see those numbers, that just shows you how confident you guys are that that's not going to happen.
Thank
right?
you for finding that. I didn't have that at my fingertips either.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
high.
a very long, the NASPO agreement is a very long document, a couple hundred pages. Any other questions for me? I'm excited to be working with your team here. I have to say that the success of an implementation is, we have to have a strong partnership, and you have to have people that are willing and excited about change, because it is going to be change and it is work. And in meeting with the team several times now, I feel
Well, like Mr. Wenzel said, we have a fairly young staff, so they're probably going to be really quick and savvy to pick up on it. If you were trying to train someone like me, or maybe like Mr. Solis, maybe not so much.
They're all like, why are we still using these typewriters?
And Chris too, probably not. But all right. Well, if we have no more questions from council, I guess we'll be looking for a motion to approve to adopt a resolution authorizing the interim city manager to enter into a NASPO Value Point participating addendum to use the state of Utah's cooperative contract to cover the cloud solutions for an enterprise resource planning ERP system, including implementation support licensing with Oracle America, and number 2, authorizing establishment of the finance ERP capital improvement project, number 3, authorizing appropriation of $854,681 from available fund balance and fund balance to the finance ERP project, and number 4, authorizing the ordering documents for the one-time system implementation and the 3-year licensing term.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Rodriguez.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Reed. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor Farmer?
Aye. Approved 5-0. Thank you for your information, sir. All right. Our last item of the evening is going to be from the Public Works Department. It is the revised draft speed control program guidelines. Mr. Griffin.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I'm here tonight to provide an updated or revised draft speed control program guidelines and receive feedback and answer any questions you may have. So the overview for tonight's presentation, again, I will walk through the revised draft speed control program policy. I will give an example of how this would work on a Dareway. I'll quickly go over the questions that were raised, questions and comments raised at the last meeting we had this discussion, and provide answers, and then with that, give an opportunity for questions and feedback. So the revised speed control program is a 3-step process. So the first step begins with receiving an inquiry from the public. With that inquiry, then we will go out and collect speed baseline speed data, both volume and speed, and that will allow us to determine if there really is an issue in that neighborhood. And then from there, if we determine there is, we will perform public outreach in tandem with the police department. And we will also analyze and assess non-physical measures that may help reduce speed and make that corridor safer. And then after those processes are in place and given some time to marinate, we will come back in 3 to 6 months and then collect a new set of speed data to see how these non-physical measures have performed. And in a perfect world, we will see a reduction in speed, and we're good to go.
Non-physical meaning temporary?
No, non-physical being no speed humps at step one. It would be something such as clearing some vegetation that might be obscuring signs, be looking at signs to see if we need to place signs in a better location.
Okay.
Things like that. If there's pavement markings that we need to place to inform the driving public. So those are interim measures that would be before putting more of a speed control improvement out there.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted a clarification.
So step 2 would be for those situations where the education and outreach do not achieve the desired outcome. And from there, we will have the residents in the study area, we will send out that speed control form to them and have them return it just to confirm, their interest in having staff look at a more permanent measure, speed humps, speed tables, or whatever that may be. And the policy as written still has a 75% threshold for moving forward into the final process. Part of the step 2 will again be to have Public Works Engineering team look at the form submitted and the data collected and come up with more of a precise study area. And with that, we will identify locations of speed control devices in the neighborhood that we think would best achieve the goals for that neighborhood. And then the final step is step 3, is where we actually send notifications out to those members of the public who would be directly impacted. For example, those who would have the speed lump, along their property line. Those are the residents that we would reach out to confirm, hey, you've said before you're in favor of this. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to put it right in front of your home. I just want to confirm that you are still supportive of it. And the policy still has a 75% for that third step as well. And should we receive a 75% or greater support, then that gets added into our next roadway capital project. So real world example for Adair Way. Let's say we're looking at Adair Way from East Stockton to Fermoy. Same process, we go collect the data, collect the baseline data, perform the outreach, assess, do we need to put more signs, striping, whatever it may be, and then come back in 3 to 6 months and analyze the data. That stretch of roadway has a total of 14 homes. So when we send out the form for the residents to return, we would be looking for 11 out of 14 to say, yes, we support some type of speed control device in our neighborhood. Again, that's not saying where it's going to be, but yes, we support staff in the city looking at our corridor and determining where the device or devices are best to be located. And then with that, we would identify the locations. Step 3, which is what we're doing now on based on the direction from council previously, is we would send a notice to all of the impacted residents. Again, those being the 4. If we put in one speed lump, it would be along a property line. We would send a notice to 4 residences, and to achieve that 75%, 3 of those 4 would need to vote yes. They would support putting the speed control device along their property line. And assuming we get the 75 or 100%, then whatever locations are identified for a speed control device, those get rolled into our annual right-of-way maintenance program. So that kind of walks through a specific real-world example of how it would apply. So now jumping back to the last meeting, to boil it down, council had a total of 8 general questions on this program. So the first one, the question focused on is signage required, or can we install just the speed limit without signage, without road striping? Reviewing the MUTCD, signage and striping is strongly recommended in the MUTCD. And that is our recommendation as well, that with any speed control device, we put out a number of signs on both sides of the roadway as well as striping on both sides of the roadway.
And this is permanent signage or temporary signage?
This would be permanent signage. So another question that council asked is, are there different percentages for thresholds and there's a typo here, this should say step 2 and step 3. Are there different percentages that we could consider? And again, the program as described had a 75% threshold. Other options are 50% or 66%, 2/3. Those are 2 other options council could consider. All of those are reasonable. And step 2, again, the program identified 75%. Another option is 50%. Again, when we're looking at, 4 residences, it's going to be in 25% increments. And for both these, we do not recommend a threshold lower than 50%. So step 3, council asked us to identify if come up with an idea for an appeal process. So the appeal process has been added into the policy. That is new. It's in section 6. And that's a much lower threshold. 25% of the residents in the area, they would, if we had 25% who desire an appeal, that would then be presented formally to city council. So for the example of Adair Way, 25% of 14 would be 3.5. So we would have to receive 4 out of 4. If we evaluated that segment of roadway and decided nothing was necessary, if we had 4 out of 14 request a reconsideration, then that out of this policy, that would require us to bring that item back to council for consideration. A question for council asked if what were our thoughts on bringing every speed control request submitted to council. Our thought is that would be a very cumbersome process. In turn, what we recommend is that staff would provide a report either quarterly or semi-annually on requests received and status and timeframes for those requests. Another question that council brought up was, if there's a minimum criteria such as peak hourly vehicle numbers or a certain threshold above the speed limit, would it be beneficial to just skip the public outreach process and go straight to step 2 or step 3 for implementation of this program? Staff recommends that we don't skip any steps. Again, in a perfect world, public outreach, having the speed trailer out at a number of locations, hopefully that would help the public, be a bit more cautious or cognizant of what their speed is and correct their driving habit without anything permanent. So our recommendation is we always include step 1 regardless of what the baseline speed data shows. Question 6, council asked, what role does the Public Safety Committee play in review of these requests? So our suggestion and recommendation is that the Public Safety Committee receive a report on the process utilized and implemented by staff and the results of that process. They allow the public to provide feedback prior to us moving forward with installation of a speed control device, and then that the Public Safety Committee provide a report back to council documenting that we did follow the process and as well as provide any summary of feedback received by the community or presented by the community. So again, another question 7, and what options do we recommend to consider before installation of speed control devices? So these are the non-physical measures that are specified in the program. Again, that's basic data collection is step 1 to see if there really is an issue. And then it goes out to public outreach, both that's in tandem between Public Works and the police department. And then those non-physical measures such as evaluating where signs are, if signs are needed, or if we need to freshen up striping that's in the roadway. And then again, we would reassess and collect a second round of speed control data in 3 to 6 months. And the 8th and final question that council asked is, how would these improvements be paid? So staff proposes that the annual roadway maintenance project budget covers this cost of these devices. We would recommend that annually council sets a cap, say $100,000, and if for the year, all the requests that we receive, if that cost is exceeded, then that money gets programmed into the budget for the next fiscal year. And then we would identify what additional funding source we would use in addition to what the baseline annual contribution is out of the roadway maintenance program. So with that wraps up my presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Well, first, thank you for putting this together, because I think it's important that we have something in place. For one, and just for the general public, we needed some kind of process for people, who come out and say, I need a stop sign in my neighborhood, cars go too fast. We can't be inundated, because the concern was with the council was that we open Pandora's box, like with, say, a Dare Way. If a Dare Way gets speed bumps, then all of a sudden everybody in their neighborhoods all of a sudden wants to come and get speed bumps. So we knew with the conversation of a Dare Way and the council direction with that particular street that we also, in conjunction with that, had to come out with some sort of process, some kind of, process to go through so that other people who wanted things can go through that, and we're not just going to be inundated every month with people at the podium asking for stop signs and speed bumps and whatnot. So I do appreciate that. Some of my initial thoughts were, I do appreciate the fact that you would take mitigation measures to see if you can fix the problem without going to the extreme, right? So if people are speeding in their neighborhood, we look at, well, is there proper signage? Do we have proper speed limit signs? Do some speed control. I'm skeptical with the speed control, because I'm sure putting the radar trailer out there or having, Officer Steele out there on the motorcycle, ticketing people, it's going to make an impact. But then once he's not doing that anymore and the trailer's not there, people tend to go back to their habits. So I feel like that's just a temporary fix. But I do think that we should try to implement some things, or, maybe the paint on the street where the stop sign is, or maybe the stop sign's blocked by a tree or something that could be easily remedied. So I understand that there's probably, in some cases, you can take simple measures that can really improve the situation. So I think that's important. I just want to be clear that this isn't just for speed control requests. This is for anything. Like if some people came forward and said we need a stop sign or we need a crosswalk. Pretty much, it's not just for speed controls. This could be applied to anything that any sort of traffic measures this could be applied to. Correct?
Generally speaking, yes.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, for stop signs that we would need to collect, it'd be a different process where we collect traffic data, and there has to be a minimum threshold that's achieved before we would install side stop control or four-way stop. So the same general process would be implemented. The reason I say same general process is when we go out and collect that data, say it does show we need side stop control, we wouldn't go out to the public and say, do you want us to put more stop signs in? The data already shows there's a need for it, so we would then just go forward with putting the stop signs in.
Okay. So looking at, I remember some of these questions I was asking, and so I think two of my initial thoughts, just me thinking out loud, is I think a 6-month reassessment is a little too long. I like the 3-month. So I think if we do some measures and then we go back out and do another speed check, I think to wait 6 months is a long time. I think if there's still going to be a problem, we're going to see it in 3 months. I just would hate for someone to wait because then that just belabors the process and makes it so long. So that would be my recommendation, is to stick to the shorter term. However, on the appeal side, I think the 25% is a little low. I think if we go through this whole process and ultimately the denial is we're not putting speed bumps on the street, I think we would need more than just 3 people out of 14 to come back and say, no, we don't agree with that, we want to appeal. I mean, if it really is a need and that process failed, we should see more than 3 people coming forward saying, hey, no, we believe you guys got it wrong. I think it should be more like 50. I mean, that seems reasonable. If 7 people on a 14 house street said we got it wrong and came back, I would listen. Whereas if 3 people come back, I'd be like, it's just the 3 people. It's just such small. It'd be easy to get 3 people that wouldn't agree. And I feel like I feel like with that low threshold, you're gonna get a lot of appeals, in my opinion. That's just me. And then the one other thought was on the percentages for the I like the 2/3 on the first threshold, but I do agree with the 2/3 on an agreement that they need like 14, like you use a dare, 14 houses. I think 2/3 would be a sufficient amount. If 2/3 of the people on that street agreed that we needed something, I feel like that would be sufficient. I would feel like that's good enough. But of course, when you actually go to put the speed bump in, you're asking for 75. Obviously, that is 100% has to be that, because you're going to put something that's going to directly impact somebody's house by putting a speed bump right on their property line. You're going to have 3 of those 4 people say that's fine. So I agree with that one. I just think the other threshold, should be 2/3 instead of the 75. I think we should probably lean it. So those are my thoughts. I'm just throwing that out there in the world to see what y'all think. But that was my thoughts. It's a great presentation, though. I like it.
I have a couple questions. On step 3, where it's at the final line, it says improvements added to the next roadway capital project. What's the timeline on that? I mean, you add it to a list. Does it necessarily, I mean, how many things are on this list? What's the timeline of actually going to put that speed table in or whatever?
Let's use Adair as an example. Right now, we are finishing our outreach to the neighbors. We've had people come in as late as this week and ask questions and give feedback. We would take the direction we receive from council, that would get implemented in next year's roadway maintenance program. So we're looking at probably 6 months to a year minimum before those are in place. And we could proceed with a separate speed control only project and do that more frequently. The thought process behind rolling in with the roadway project is hopefully we receive slightly better prices by having a better volume of work.
So you want to wait till you have several requests that go through and then move forward with it?
Correct.
In the meantime, those neighborhoods are continuing to deal with the
Correct.
issues. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'll move on for right now while I think about that. I do have a question about when you actually poll the neighbors. Because on step 3, when in the example, you say 75% of the owners must return the form. So is it 75% have to agree, you have to get your yes for 75% from 3 of the neighbors? But what if only 3 of them submit an answer?
Yes. So for that specific example, if we have, we require 75%, 3 out of 4. If 3 submit, 2 are yes, 1 or no, we would view that as 50-50.
So we'll assume that the non-response is a no.
Is a no. Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. And then the signs or the markers warning for that you're coming up to a speed bump. Does that have to be a vertical sign or can it be painted on the roadway?
It's both. There are signs
So,
as well as pavement markings.
And how far in front of that speed bump does that vertical sign have to be? And let me, the reason why I'm asking is if it is the length of a home, now you're actually involving additional homes affected by that speed bump going in, because now they're going to have a sign, which I would assume will still be at a property line, but it still will be a brand-new sign sitting in front of a home.
The signs, I want to say 250 feet, 300 feet. It's based on your stopping distance, or at least, again, the intent is people need to slow down. So the sign needs to be far enough away from the speed control device that the driver has sufficient time to slow down.
And
So
I
wanna say
understand
it's
the
250.
logistics of it. I think we need to consider those other houses now that are not part of those four where the speed bump
And
goes
are
in.
those people gonna
Now
have to meet
they
the same
have-
criteria?
These people down over here now have the sign randomly, and they may have voted no to have any bumps on their road.
Yeah, I would hate to see
You know what I
that.
mean?
I would hate to see because you remember with the DARE, we were very limited on where we could do the speed bumps, right? So let's say we get the speed bump, and then we get 3 of those 4 people to say, okay, I'm okay with having a speed bump. But then we have to put the sign that says there's a speed bump down here, and this guy says, no, I don't want that in front of my house, and then it just kiboshes the whole process.
Yeah,
You
so
see,
we
I-
would, yes.
That's what I worry about.
I'm going to think out later. So yes, there would be 2 signs. So we would then have a total of 6 residents, because you would have the sign on, say, on the example for Adair Way, you'd have a sign on the north side of Adair and a sign on the south side of Adair. So if we're going back to the 75% threshold, that's 4.5 out of 6. So now we would need 5 out of 6 to vote yes if we're considering both the signage and the speed control device.
Actually, if it's
So if
on
we
a
go to a-
property line, you'd have 2 houses for that, affecting that sign.
Yes, if we put the sign on a property
Now
line,
you
then
just
we'd go
doubled.
back to 8.
Yeah,
Yes.
you'd have 8.
Yep.
Anyway, something to think about. I just know that when I first moved into Galt, we had a nice front yard, and all of a sudden, this sign popped up in the middle. It wasn't even on the property line, in the middle of, and we had to come to City Hall and fight. That was our first experience. This was 25 years ago. But, we didn't want this sign right in the middle of our lawn in the front yard. So I can imagine where some of these neighbors might not want a
But it did say the signs are recommended. And they're strongly recommended, so I get that. But I'm sure let's just say that we just use a DARE. Let's say a DARE, we get the speed bumps, we have the 4 people are like, yes, we're fine, whatever, and then some person throws a fit about the sign. Instead of just, killing the whole thing, we could maybe make an exception with that and say we're gonna paint the street, and we're gonna paint the actual bump itself would be highlighted with paint or something, but maybe we don't do the vertical sign in somebody's yard. I don't know. I just don't want to be, this is what government does well. We make things complicated.
I know, sorry.
Want to make sure. It's a great point.
Anyway, it was just something to consider, something that might be someone who does not appreciate what we're doing. Especially if you're, speaking of Adair, if you are just 1 or 2 houses in from, say, East Stockton Boulevard, so you're not, that speed bump is away from you, but you have a sign sitting in front of your yard for it. So I don't know, that was just one of those things. And then I did have a question on the actual, and it just went, so you might have to come back to me, so someone else.
All right. We'll come back to you. We'll give you
Sorry.
more opportunity. Anybody else, Tim?
Sure, I'll go next. And I think everybody knows what I'm going to talk about. What are we taking into consideration in this policy for public safety response? I know that I've had conversations with the police chief and the fire chief about this, but what has the interaction with Public Works and what was their input on this plan?
So we have discussed this plan with CSD Fire, and their primary concern was, are these speed humps designed for their vehicles? And we're following the same standard as City of Elk Grove. So they were satisfied with that. And the program does articulate, and I didn't spell this out, that we will need to coordinate with CSD Fire before we place any speed control device to make sure that they're on board with it.
Yeah, and I see the section in here for fire department review for apparently 4 to 6 weeks. But my concerns are, in here it says that the CSD maintains a goal of responding to every emergency 90% of the time in 6 minutes, which they don't do right now. And so now we're going to put these speed humps or whatever, right? And it's going to restrict their response times. According to a certain individual that I've talked to for the CSD says that it's not because they do the cutouts for the large fire engines and that's not going to be a problem. But, anybody that's been around that business long enough knows that the wheelbase for a fire engine is not the same wheelbase as an ambulance. And so your ambulance is going to have to slow down to go over every single one of these humps where the fire engine doesn't have to. And so that's been my concern a lot of the time with putting these in. And just basically the feedback that I've gotten from the fire department doesn't give me warm and fuzzies about this situation. And so I just wanted to put that out there that we, maybe we need to see if there's another option or, or spacing on the cutouts or what, but I would like to, have that conversation again with him. And it's one of the things that I'm going to be bringing up in my 2x2 with them next month.
I would just like to make a comment. I have a lot of respect for what you're pointing out, Tim, but I also would like to say that to slow down and drive over a speed bump to add probably 3 or 4 seconds onto response time, I would rather see that 3 or 4 seconds added than in hopes that we would eliminate certain ambulance trips altogether because some kid got killed on a street that we didn't have the right stuff on.
And I don't disagree with you.
So
I just know that there's a response time problem that we have right now. And in my opinion, it's not being addressed. And this would just add more issues to that problem that we already have.
I do know that driving around in Elk Grove, there's a lot of speed bumps in some of those neighborhoods. I was surprised at how many there was, especially over like off of Camera Road, off the newer areas they've been building. I was over there recently. There's a lot on some of the main arteries that go through those neighborhoods. But so, Mr. Pratton?
Sacramento approved 90 in their last meeting. So we know this is a thing. It happens, right? People drive crazy, and we have to do something about it. So just think we're beating it to death here. Let's move on.
Any thoughts on the thresholds and stuff, Matt?
I absolutely agree with what you said.
With the 2/3 and then the 50 on the appeal?
Yeah, Mayor, I'm agree with you. The threshold 75 to 66%, and that the appeal 25% is kind of less. You can increase to 40 or 50% wherever we agree. I agree with Mr. Reed, but that it all over. If you look at all over, how much percentage is can be that slow on going that street that the ambulance. The Elk Grove, they adopt that. Their population in 185,000 is much higher than us. I agree with your concern, but we have to move something our citizen wants. And I know there is some street they need the traffic is too fast. And I think this process is a very hard process. It's not going to be easy to just put a hump or whatever. We can be a speed control. This process can be hard. And I believe our citizen, this is also concern, Reed, I totally understand, but our citizen wants this something, we have to do something to control the speed. And to me, I'm agree with this, a lot of work with the public work, a lot of other staff member. I'm agree with that policy. And there is, if there's 66%, a little bit increase on the 25%, and I'm agree on that policy.
How do you guys feel about those changes?
No, I totally agree with those changes, and I don't disagree with, yes, we need speed bumps in the city, right? I mean, you guys all know my concerns, right? Consumers Fire has a report on their website that says right now, 90% of the time, they take over 9 minutes to get to your house when they're trying to get there in 6. So, like, it's not like they miss it by 30 seconds. They miss it by a lot.
Yeah, that might be, we need another channel to address that issue with the CSD. I think there might be another discussion, but that might be out of this policy.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board with the policy. I'm just putting out there my concerns. And like I said, I'm going to bring all this up at the 2x2 next month with Consumnes.
So I think we have a consensus on the 66%.
Well, hold on, I want clarity on that 2/3, because when you have 4, 2/3 of 4, you're gonna have to round up to 75, so.
Well, yeah, but that first threshold is only the entire neighborhood. It doesn't, we're only,
okay.
we're talking about that threshold, not the one where you have to do the 4 people. So we're talking about a street that
just-
has 20 houses.
Okay,
You know, with 20 houses, you're looking at, what is that? We need like 12. 12 would be the threshold we'd be looking for, or something like that, instead of, 15. I just think 15 is pretty high. It's too high, in my opinion. But I am concerned about, but I would want to raise a concern that she brought up. I am concerned, I don't know what can be done, but I have a real problem with somebody going through this entire process, which would be lengthy, right? And then they get through the whole thing, and they're like, all right, looks like you've met all the criteria, everything's great. So hopefully we'll get those things implemented in, about a year from now, or maybe more. I just think it's too long. I mean, I think we got to figure out some way to fast track that. There should be a shorter time frame. And I know it could be based on how much money it's going to cost. Maybe if it's just a speed bump, it's going to be cheap. Or if it's something more severe, it could be more expensive. But I don't know how to address that. I don't know what to even recommend on that. But I just don't think.
Is there the option, because we see them in parking lots of schools and things like that, temporary ones that can be placed very easily until we get the contract or whoever in place to do the permanent ones?
I think it might just add more costs. Chris, what are your
We would
thoughts on this?
still need to install the signs. Regardless, we'd still have to also install
Right.
signs.
You heard what I
and
said,
markings.
right? Our concern is, Bonnie and I's concerns, I think we all share the concern, is that, go through this whole process, which could be very lengthy, right? Let's say they get through the whole process and they meet all the boxes are checked. And we actually said, okay, great, we're gonna put 2 speed bumps on such and such street. And then now they have to wait like a year because it has to be worked into the next project stuff. I mean, maybe worked into the next budget cycle or something like that, but I mean, it just seems like.
So could we, I'm just gonna drive right out of my lane onto the median and across in oncoming traffic. Can't we just pre-fund a set dollar amount in a rolling CIP that gives spending authority out of the gate for the project as we start?
Absolutely. There's certainly a funding mechanism we could employ when we initially set up the program. Council has a discretion to do that. And then if it is a regular ongoing item, it's something that we then budget, every year with an anticipated amount. So you are not like waiting that time.
I think that's the way we need to go, but I think John's bigger concern was if he could have 3 different neighborhoods done at the same time, it's gonna be cheaper than doing individual neighborhoods. And I respect that, except I think that personally for me, I think I'd rather spend the more money to get it done where it needs to get done.
Oh, and I
when it
agree, and
needs to get
I'm not sure Galt is big enough to like have that massive need where, it's probably more prudent for us to attack those that are in need more immediately.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not Sacramento who approves 90 of them.
One, consent.
So the last thing I wanted to bring up, since we seem like we got some direction here on most of it, is, and council, I don't know if should or shouldn't, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, is there anything, I don't see anything in here that says that the council has any discretion to override anything. I just want to be clear, are we understanding that this is the process exactly, and if this process doesn't meet exactly, that there's any hang up in there at all, that we're not going to say, well, you know what, I think we should make an exception. I feel strongly enough. Well, yeah, but that appeal process comes from the citizens, not from the council. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
I mean, I know the council can do whatever they want, probably, but I'm just wondering if.
If I may, we
Let-
could write
Let me
that.
jump in on this. I think that's why it's on consent agenda for Sacramento. That way they have the opportunity to look at everyone that's on there, and if they want to speak up for whatever, they can. So it does come to council, but they don't have a conversation every time it comes. It's a.
No, but I'm actually phrased it different. What I'm saying is like, let's say that it goes through a certain street, goes through this whole process, and there's just one thing in there that just doesn't, like, let's say we're one house short of the 75% or the 66 or something like that, right?
It's denied for whatever reason.
And it's denied. That the council has the authority to say, you know what, we really looked at this closely. We feel strongly about this. We're gonna overlook that. But I mean, I know if we did that, then people would expect us to we open Pandora's box and say, well, the council can override that stuff. We're putting these parameters in place so that we have things that have to be checked. But I do want to just say out there that I do think that there could be a one-off or something where we're just like, no, we need to skip that step or something. I don't know.
I believe we always have discretion.
If I may, again, one of the recommendations in response to one of the questions was we provide either a quarterly or a semi-annual report of all the inquiries received.
Okay.
So that report would identify, yes, we're going to put one in, or no, we're not going to, and here's the reasons why we decided not to. And that would be a good time for council to give staff feedback and say,
So, for example,
this specific one,
okay.
you said you had.
So if I had a
48%.
citizen come and say, hey, I live on Oak Avenue and we really need blah, blah, and it's like, well, did you guys go there? Yeah, we tried that, and it was denied. And then so I ask you and you say, yeah, it was one of the three, had three come through. Oak Avenue was one of them. They were looking to this. And then I could look at it and you could provide me with information. And we say, you know what, I think we should revisit that one or something. Then we could bring it forward to council and see why it was denied or what was the process, what happened with that or something, right? Okay, that's good. I think I think there's enough checks and balances in there then. So just the 2/3 threshold on the step, what step was that? 2? And then we're gonna do the 50% on the appeal, right?
Yeah.
And then was there anything else?
There
Oh,
was
and then the
3 month, I have written down 3 month for the speed
The
survey
3 months for the
follow-up, not wait
reassess,
for
and then
6.
the funding of some kind of special fund for should it, whatever.
And we could, that
Chris
was,
has a look on his face. What's that look say?
No, I think that's a prudent approach
Okay.
to fund it, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks for the recommendation, Chief. Do you know like in the 50s that the police chief actually worked for Public Works? Unless they got a police call, then he would go put the hat on and he would go in the patrol car out. So you did both jobs. True story.
I think Brian would be a better public works director anyways.
All right, so are we just looking for direction on this, right?
Get him to drive a forklift.
Yeah, so you think the direction is clear?
What about the sign issue? Do we want them to include those additional 4 houses in that vote, or are we just going to put up a sign in front of them?
Well, I think if you're going to put a sign in front of someone's house, I think that it's prudent to say, hey, you're going to put a sign in there. I think if there's a big fuss about it and the people are not okay with that, then I think that we need to look at, well, it's strongly recommended, but is there something else we can do besides putting that sign in?
I mean, because to be fair, they don't have a choice when you go put up a speed limit sign. That's just where it has to go, right? So I guess it just can be another one of those signs. I just can hear the complaints.
Well,
I agree.
as far as the signage goes, there's always the opportunity to use existing structures for signs. When looking around like Elk Grove and looking at their bumps, they co-locate, their signs on light standards and others where it's then not such an imposition on,
right.
The home owners.
Yeah.
So I'm confident Public Works would work to limit the impact.
So council, are we all in agreement on the direction that we've given then, we think?
Yes.
We
Tim?
also have public comment.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Kinley?
the one time
I've had experience in putting speed bumps in 2 towns, Stockton and Thornton. Walnut Grove, they screwed in temporary rumble strips, and they put a sign there, speed bumps going to be placed here. So they were getting good public comments from, and then on Thornton Road, we had 2 speed bumps put in, and we never had any problems from the neighbors because neighbors go door to door pushing this process. And so it works better than a city official going there. In Stockton and Monte Diablo area, we put in 10 speed bumps. And we didn't get any no's from any of the neighbors, basically, because basically you kind of know which neighbors are going to say no, so you don't talk to them. You bypass them. That way you get your vote. So,
Thank you, Mr. Lee. All right, well, I think we got our direction. Mr. Griffin, you got what you need?
Yes, I do. Thank you,
Okay. Also, thank you for the update on Adair Way. I'm glad to hear that that's moving forward. I haven't heard from anybody on Adair lately, but you never know. All right, item M, communication. Do we have any this evening?
Just a reminder, November 18th is canceled.
All right, so we're not going to have another council meeting until the first week of December.
Correct.
All right, item N, city clerk's report.
Nothing.
Item O, comments by staff.
We have comments from Human Resources Director Tricia Kobe.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to announce that in September, we received our first home buying assistance application from our community engagement analyst, and she closed escrow last Tuesday.
Oh.
So we're very excited for her.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's all.
When's the housewarming party?
Waiting for our invite still.
And then Police Chief Brian Kalinowski.
So on December 9th, we will be having a holiday open house. No, I will not be Buddy the Elf this year. But, I know. But we're doing Peanuts and the Police, which is a Charlie Brown holiday get-together at the police department. I can see your excitement, Chris. Anyways, it's from 4 to 6 p.m. And I know that we've had council members and the mayor and others in the past, and so you are welcomed to attend. We have adjusted the hours to more of an afternoon, early evening, because we were seeing a fall off in participation as the evening got longer. But we will have stuff on social media for that. Since we're not meeting next on the 18th, I wanted to get that information out early to everyone. Anyways, again, it's on December 9th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the PD. That's all I have. Thank you.
December 9th. That's sorry, I'm in the wrong month. That's a Tuesday night?
And Captain Small will be dressing up as Charlie Brown this year, so he's this year's victim.
What time does that start,
just-
Chief? 4 to 6. 4 to 6, okay.
And then, one final comment. City Hall and other city offices will be closed on Tuesday in honor of Veterans Day. It is a holiday. And I would like to also thank the council for their vote of confidence, on my contract, and I look forward to serving to the best of my ability in that additional year. So thank you very much.
All right. Comments by city council members, future agenda items. Mr. Pratton.
No future agenda items. I did want to follow up on the county-city collaboration on homelessness. Just a couple of things. Yeah, you said it pretty well, Mayor. It was interesting. It had the right people there, but there was no conclusion to it. And I think the biggest issue I got out of it was that, things get passed and the legislature doesn't fund. So there's a lot of tools that are there that they're not even able to use right now. So hopefully it's a good step. I don't know what the answer is. Some of this is new to me, so I'm just trying to see where I can fit in and help. But I did want to say thank you to Jenny and Mayor for doing an excellent job of representing us there. We were well represented. So thank you. That's
Thanks.
all.
Councilman, Vice Mayor Sandhu.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the staff for their hard working. Thank you for the public comment. And thank you, regular city manager, for congratulations, and thank you working with us another year. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Reed.
Trying to think of something to say that you guys haven't already said. I could say thank you to everybody for coming again. I look forward to going to the CGA meeting tomorrow with Mr. Griffin. It's going to be riveting. But other than that, just thanks for everybody that comes and gives their input. We wouldn't be able to do this job without knowing what the community wants us to do. So that's all.
All right, thank you, sir. Bonnie?
I have a few things. One, I attended the Saturday market, and it was phenomenal again, so please thank and congratulate your staff. That Makers Market, the Children's Makers Market, is pretty fascinating and pretty exciting to see these young new marketers out there. And I didn't realize this is how observant I am. When I got home or later, my neighbor kids were outside selling flowers, and I said, "Oh, you guys should have," and they said, "We were there." Sorry. But they were selling flowers, and they sold all but like 4 of their big bouquets, which is, then they were out peddling them on the street and sold them all. But they had a great time, in hearing their excitement and everything that they went through, which is great. And I kept thinking, or I walked back in the house thinking, oh my gosh, maybe these are future city leaders and, people involved in our city. It's just a great program, and I think it's great that the city teamed up with Rowan Speed to do that. And the veterans presentation was very, very nice, and I think it's great that the city was involved doing something like that. And then later in the evening, I did attend the Lions Club. They, along with Troop 238, did the flag retirement ceremony. That was pretty amazing, and I actually got a little tear in my eye with the little stories that they told. And then, of course, they had a whole pile of flags to retire, and you could dedicate a flag to someone. And so a flag was dedicated to our fallen officers, Graywall and Ton. So I wanted to thank everyone for doing that and for recognizing the city's fallen officers. And with that, obviously, Veterans Day is coming, so thank you to all our veterans who served, and I hope they have a great day. I also want to thank Police Department for doing the coverage at the schools' crosswalks. What crossed my mind, I think it's great when I saw the coverage of how many people were ticketed, and in some cases, who was ticketed. I thought, it's really sad that that's the deterrent, and the deterrent isn't possibly harming a child, but we have to have someone ticketed and a police officer standing there to make people obey. And that's coming from someone who had been a yard duty for about 5 years, and on those crosswalks years ago. I think we should have had hazard pay, to be honest with you, because people just don't care. So I do appreciate the officers out there and enforcing. For a future agenda item for our next meeting, I'd like to put on my discretionary funds. I would like to, in light of everything that's happening federally, I'd like to donate my funds to the Sunshine Food Pantry so that they can help our local people who are affected by that. And other than that, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. Just real quick, I know everybody wants to get out of here. We're just looking at the clock. I just want to thank Armando and his team for another successful season of the market. 2 years, that's 2 years now. It's conclusion of year 2, right? For the Saturday market? Yeah, 2.5. Okay, yeah. But it was good. Thank you for doing the veteran thing. That was very nice. I wish I could have stayed longer and enjoyed it, but as you know, I had to go back to work. So but it was very nice and I had compliments about it. So please pass along, my gratitude to everybody who's involved. I know Public Works participates in the road closures and stuff. There's a lot of moving parts, so I just don't want to miss anybody, but just want to say thank you for the market. The market's good. It's been successful. Although y'all were skeptical in the beginning that it was going to be. I'm just going to keep pointing that out forever. But anyways, and then, thanks to PD as well about doing the crosswalk safety and especially doing the social media on it. You guys have such a good presence on social media, so I appreciate when you guys put stuff on there. I feel like the outreach is like amplified by doing that, so thank you very much. And then last, I wanted to know, I was thinking, you made those comments about that homeless meeting. I was just wondering if we couldn't formally, it's not a big rush because this thing is not moving very quickly, but I was wondering if the council would support just having staff just draft a letter, it could be a form of email or whatever, to the powers that be that put that on, saying that we as a city of Galt are very much 100% want to participate in whatever they put together moving forward. We want a seat at that table, and we look forward to hearing back on when we can meet again. We're going to meet again. I just want I would like to see a commitment from the city, not just me emailing say, hey, it was great. I want to be a part of that. I want to something from the city. Maybe it's a letter from and I can sign it or something, an email, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm talking about? Would that be fine if we did that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Because I think if this is going to become a thing, I think we need to make sure that we express our interest. I think if all the cities do that, come forward and say, hey, this was great, let's do something, that maybe that'll be the push for them to set another date or something.
So our next meeting isn't until December. Are you good with waiting until?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. There was no conclusion. We all just said, yeah, let's meet again. This is great. We need to do this again. And then that was it. Nobody decided. So I feel like we need to be like, hey, we had it was great. We felt like, it was a positive step. The city of Galt supports such a thing. When are we going to meet again?
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, and last, just wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody has a safe holiday. And thank you to our veterans, of course, for Veterans Day. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 9:23. Good night.